Good evening, Barbados. Good evening, Barbados. This is the Marcia Week Show, and we are coming to you live from Barbados. Wonderful. It is Friday, February 16th, and it's 7 o'clock, and we know what time this is. This is the time for education, right? This is the time for enlightenment. The opposition has come together. We are coming from all over Barbados. We are logged on, we are sharing, we are liking, and I see people are on. And the picture you see up is the roadside parliament and opposition motorcade. Opposition motorcade. Because guess what? We are not giving this government any rest. They said that they are going to, they're going to have a parliamentary review. There's a committee that they've now sent the cyber crime bill to, but we're not stopping. We're not letting that because we hear that. No, we've heard there have been so many broken promises by governments over the years, whether B, D, whatever. And we are, as the loyal opposition, we are saying that we're going to continue to educate people. We're going to educate the citizens of Barbados. And that's why we're having this motorcade where we're going to have our speakers on the truck. The cars are going to be behind with our, our spoon and and pot cover. And we are going to make a ruckus in each community that we pass through. All right? Very, very important. Very important that everybody that you come out, pack up your cars, put some snacks in there, and let's have a good time on the way down. And when you get there, we're going to have an even greater time with all the entertainment by the young people. We even have coming up, guys. We even have a road tennis, a short road tennis match. Okay, in St. John. I tell you, the St. John people really, really talented. We're gonna have a short road tennis match. We have Calypsonians, our MC is gonna be there. Dynamo, remember Dynamo? Dynamo will be there. All the young people, they will be on display. That is what is happening, and I know you are sharing, 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 and I'm deliberately leaving this up because we need, and anywhere you see this flyer, please like it and share it. Anytime you see this flyer over this weekend, you see it on Facebook, you see it on Instagram, wherever you see it, share it, like and share, and tell people I am attending. Tell people that I will be there. We are not going to give up. We are fighting for our freedom, y'all. This is not the time to give up. Yes? All right. Welcome, 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 welcome. There you are. Oh, wonderful, 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 wonderful. Oh my goodness. Look at everybody who's on. Over 225 persons on, and it's only 7:04 because tonight's show is going to be really, really very, very educational. Loyal Daughter 66. Oh, welcome. Rameem, welcome, welcome. And Loyal Daughter 66 has been on from 6:01. Born again, born again. Ah, wonderful, born again. Zaire Campbell, welcome. Good evening, people. The show is becoming addictive. Seems as if we can't wait to see what is the next topic. That's it. We get addictive to learning. And it's gonna be good tonight, and you'll be able to ask your questions. And we disagree sometimes, but that's okay. Gelbis, pleasant evening to the loyal opposition. We will continue to press on. Yes. Yes, we will continue to press on. You see, guys, the only thing we're committed to, what is it we're committed to? It's a love for our country. It's a love for our country. We're not committed to the Marcia Week show. We're not committed to the BLP. We're not committed to the DLP. We're not committed to any political party. We are committed to this country for the love of country. For the love of country. And we're going to hopefully try to play the anthem at 7:15 this evening in 10 minutes because it's all about the love of country. And I'm going to ask you to share. You know, folks, we come on here, and just so I know you know already, nobody pays us to come on here. You don't see any ads running and anybody paying us. This is not that kind of show, right? Don't know if it'll get there. It might get there, but at the moment, nobody's paying us anything. We come on and we are giving up our time, yeah, and because again, for love of country, and so we're not going to be committed to any one person. If whoever it is, and they're not taking care of us as citizens, they're not being transparent, they're not being accountable, they will hear from us. Yes. Emerson, hi Emerson, good evening from the UK. Marcia is saying good night, my namesake. Yes, yes, happy Sabbath. Yes, yes. Llewellyn, I feel. Llewellyn, are you coming to the are you coming to the motorcade and to the roadside parliament? Please, everybody, let me know if you're coming. If you're coming, put a thumbs up in the chat. You can't leave me out there by myself on the truck. Huh? No, no. You know, gone are the days that we would hear our government say, "Oh, we're gonna do that," and then we believe. No, no, no. We believe when it happens. They said in 3 months that they're gonna come back to us. Well, those 3 months we're gonna educate as many Barbadians as possible. The reason they put it back is that there's a problem with it. There is a problem with that cybercrime bill, and that's why they pull it back. There is a problem, and they heard us, and they see the wrath that is coming. They see that we're not playing. I saw some of them. They were outside the peeping through the parliament when we were doing the national anthem there. I saw them, Sir Alfred. Heathcliff, good night. Yes, Sir Alfred says more like a university education class in session. Rachel Thornhill. Good night. Good night. Kryptonite. Good night. Vicky Bryan. Good night. Good night, folks. Everybody who's joining. Beverly Perscott. Good night. Monica Ince. Good night. Good night. Good night. Monica, are you coming to the if this is a Monica, I know I don't think this Monica is in Barbados, but if it's not, Monica, if you're in Barbados, are you coming to the motorcade? Will you be at the roadside parliament? We need cars. We got all the permissions. We got everything, guys. Today we were on the road. Let me get it and show you. We were on the road for, in town, up and down, and we were at cost cap. See, we got all of our documents. We do everything in decency and in order. Everything paid for already. We have our insurance. Yes, you don't have to worry about anything. Everything. Oops, ICBL get a little promo there. Everything cost cap. Taken care of, the health certificate. Everything we have. We have all the documents here. Everything already done. Already done. Already paid for. Your donations have done this. And we are going out on Sunday. Sunday is when we are going out. 3 o'clock, WESTBURN Mall. And I've started to send out the route for everybody. You can check the Marcia Week show, and you will be able to see the route is going to be put up there. Let me get everything back in this because we want to make sure we have this document here with us, that we are following the laws of the land. Yes. Okay, wonderful. Okay, Born Again, are you coming? Will you be there, Born Again? Listen, if you don't have a vehicle, we're hiring a vehicle. The thing is that we just don't even know what sites to hire, because we don't know how many persons are coming. Those people who are coming and you can't drive. FX Trading. Oswald Newton, I know you will be there, Oswald. Oswald, did you hear about the road tennis? There's some young people there who originate from St. John, and they're going to help us with the road tennis. We're going to just do a little short match. Ricky Pinder, good night. Randall Butchell, yes. Diana Seeley, good night. Good night, folks. Good night, folks. Sarah Campbell, Liana Bell, Joy and Faith, good night, people. Good night, good night. Loyal opposition. We're here because of love of country. We're not here based on any party colors. We are the Bajans that said we're not going to line up behind any party colors. You know, I've been in Barbados for going 23 years, and I voted, I think it's 4 times, and voted 4 different times. Yeah, you vote, but it does. Nobody's going to say, oh, my grandmother, you know, Joyanne, say, oh, my grandmother voted this way, and I'm always this way. We're going to listen, and we're going to weigh what we're hearing, Tracy. Right, Charles Pascal? We're going to weigh what we're hearing. Hi, Charles Pascal from Dominica. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. It's great to have you. What's happening in Dominica? Let us know. Pete Way, welcome, right? Colin Clark. Yes, we don't line up behind colors. We're past that. We're past letters and colors. We're about love of country. We will sit down and we will weigh, right, Sandra Franklin? We're going to weigh what they're saying. We're going to weigh what they're doing and then decide what we're going to do. We're not going to go blindly behind anybody. We're going to hold them accountable. We're not going to say, well, you know, this is my party, so I have to go easy and then being a hypocrite. No. If you went hard on the B, you must go hard on the D and the Q and the R and the S and the T, right? Non-partisan. That's what we need to be. That's the only thing that's going to help us here in Barbados. Elaine Rivers, Dr. Neil Holder, welcome. Monica Drayton, guys, are you coming to the roadside parliament and to the motorcade? We need everybody. We're standing up against the cybercrime bill. And don't tell me, oh, well, the government says that they're going to review it over the next 3 months. We are going to educate Barbadians so that when they come back with it and it's not right, we're going to tell them, no, go back. Because there are some good things about this bill. But then there are about 3 or 4 sections that are very bad for Barbadians. Very bad. And we are not going to accept those. And so we're going to, Jack Murphy, we are going to continue to let our people know. Right, Jasmine Adams, we're going to let our people know what is in it. Pauline Maynard, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Marilyn Sanford and Cheryl Sandiford, and Marilyn Pinnock. We are going to let them know we have a voice and we are going to use it. Isn't that true? Isn't that true, opposition? Isn't that true? And don't fool yourself, you know, Tyrone, saying, well, you know, we can cool off now because Ralph Thorne is in the parliament. You know, remember he says, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. He needs to know that he has the backing of the 200 and something of us. Right? He needs to know that he's got, and once Mr. Thorne is on the side of the people, we are on the side of Ralph Thorne. Isn't that the truth? If Mr. Thorne is for the people of Barbados, that's what we're doing. We're going to support him. Whatever he talks about in the parliament, we're going to take it and break it down on the show and bring education to the people in Barbados. That's what we're going to do. And Mr. Thorne, you need to also know, when you have stopped looking out for the people, we're going to hold you accountable, sir. We're going to hold you accountable. That's what we do. Yeah? That's what we do. Hi, Sonia. Yes, CG. Good evening, CG. I got all of those that you sent me. We have been extremely busy. You would never imagine. And couldn't get to call you back, but it's sent off to the printer. We're trying to get some placards done. Well, not placards, just some posters for those who are willing for us to put it on your car, making sure we can take it off. It would be with the kind of tape that we can take it off. And CG has sent some great ones to us, and so I'm going to read a couple of them a little later. Right? Yeah. So the transportation will be at Westbourne. We're going to be at Westbourne Mall, and the transportation is going to be there at 2:30. At 2:30, we are at Westbourne Mall. Okay. So if you're not driving and you want transportation, please arrive at 2:30. The police is leading the way, so we will have to leave at 3 o'clock. All right, we will be at their mercy, and we like to follow the law. We'll be at their mercy if they decide that, well, guess what, we will give you 15 minutes, but we don't know. Based on the permit that I showed you earlier, we are to leave there at 3 o'clock. We're to leave at 3 based on this. So you need to get there at 2:30. 2:30 Westbourne Mall. Where is Westbourne Mall? Westbourne Mall is a corner of Westbury and Baxter's Road. Okay, Westbourne Mall is a corner of Westbury Road and Baxter's Road. We're going to have transportation there for those who are not driving. Then the other thing that will happen, because we're loving Barbadians, we're going to pile up people in our cars, right? We're going to make sure that the car is quite festive. We're having fun and enjoying each other as we go down the road, all right? And we're going to end up, where are we going? We're going all the way to St. John. And I know we and you know what, guys, we told you that we're going to the St. John's Community Center because when we called that, they thought it was available. But where we're going is like literally next door. It's the St. John Hard Court, right? The St. John Community Hard Court that is there, that has the basketball ring and it has road tennis. We went there today. Beautiful space, lovely play park for the children. It's a family setting, and we are bringing a jumping tent. Is going to be there as well. Okay, so we ask you bring out the entire family. We will keep announcing this tonight as the show progresses. Yes. So let me see those that are planning. If you're planning to be there, let me see those who are planning to be there. Yeah, we need everybody out. We need everybody out. Yes. Let's see those who are planning to be there. All right. So we are going to do our national.
We
were singing along. Strict guardians of our heritage. Oh my God, we are guardians of our heritage. Aren't we doing that right now? Isn't that what we're doing? And that's what this motorcade is all about. That's what the protest march is about. That's what it's all about. Guardians of our heritage. Not just guardians, but strict guardians of our heritage. Can listen to me. What's your favorite line? I know I've asked this before, but what's your favorite line in this in the anthem? Anybody can tell me. What's your mine? Oh my, mine is loyal sons and daughters. I love that. It does something to me when I hear it. Whenever I hear it, oh my God, oh Lordy, somebody says that they get emotional to the point of tears. I thought it was just me alone. Oh my goodness. Yes, 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 yes. What's your favorite? What's your favorite? I see Mr. Franklin is in. Mr. Franklin, are you ready? Let me see the thumb. Oh wow, the thumbs up. Yes, yes, yes. Good night, sir. Good night,
Yes,
good night.
good night. It's so good to be here again. Good night to all who is on online and all those people who stop me and tell me that they watched the show. I saw about 40 people today who tell me this. I went to the supermarket. I almost gonna get away. I got here late. Everybody was telling me about the show. So and they're thanking us for this show because they said they learn a lot of things. I tell them I learn a lot too. So I, you know,
Yes.
so I think. And let me tell you though how my favorite line. You know what that is. And greater will our nation grow in strength and unity. Unity Workers Union, of course.
And, did you realize that the editor put when they said strength and unity, they had you on the truck at that time? Did you notice it?
I didn't see that. I don't realize.
Did, yeah, no, the editor is playing with you. So somebody said their favorite line is these fields and hills are now our very own. Yes, 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 yes. Wait, what? Oh Lord, they're telling me that they saw you embracing Ralph. Somebody said, we will get there. We will get there. We will get there. Somebody says Leanne Bell says her favorite is our great forefathers sowed the seeds from which our pride has sprung. Yes, our great forefathers, all of our ancestors, those grandmothers and grandfathers and grandaunt and uncles and those that pass on. And every time that you stand up for your country, really and truly, you have all of those who went ahead of us, and they are cheering us on. David Bowen said, "The Lord has been the people's guide." That's another favorite one of mine. Yes, 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 yes. Good night, loyal opposition. Theory, Theory is going. Theory tells me Theory is at university, and I said, "Are you coming to the motorcade and the roadside park?" He said, "Yes, I have my speech prepared." This is one of the young men. He's about, how old is Theory? Probably 19, 20. He says, "I have my speech prepared because I know he's so against this cybercrime bill, and he will be there as well." Ah, it's wonderful. Good night. Okay, Sugarcane. What Sugarcane says? Sugarcane says we write our names on history. This anthem is a boss anthem, you know. I mean, every line means something, you know, Mr. Franklin.
Yes, it is actually.
We write our
It
name.
can appeal to everyone.
Yes, yes. We write our names on history's page. Yes. You know, a hurricane writer is saying the same thing. And this is what we're doing on this show. We are writing our names on a history's page. And we are doing this in a non-partisan way. We're not lining up behind any party. Don't make no this blue shirt fool you. Sometimes I wear red. Right, Mr. Franklin? It's not about
I
any colors or anything.
no, no, well, I'm very sorry. I don't wear red. I had some red shirts and I had them on the bonfire. I go to light them, and
Oh,
my neighbor
Jesus.
said give them. My neighbor said give them to him. So I wasn't going to be seen in red.
Mr. Franklin, listen, we
I,
don't
I am
line up
I
behind
am
the
I am
colors.
very I am very serious. I had them to burn. I didn't want to be identified
Mr.
with them, and they've gotten worse.
Franklin, it has got to work. Yes, yes, yes. Well, Mr. Franklin, before we delve off into some of the this whole issue with Mr. Ralph Thorne and etc., we'll wait on that a little bit. I want to talk about the teachers. I noticed that the not Lodge School, Lawrence Tigay was closed today, and I'm reading that it's some environmental issue, some smells and so on, and there've been quite a few disturbances, at various schools in Barbados. Do you have anything that you want to share with us about that?
I don't know which one you want to talk about. You want to talk about the smells at Lester Vaughn, the fungus that and the mold at Lord School, the foot and mouth disease at St Ambrose. Take your pick. The
What?
whole place is the foot and mouth disease at St
What you
Ambrose.
telling me? What you said? So, oh my lord, go slowly. You said there's mold at, is it mold at Saint at which
At
school
Lodge
is that
School,
has the mold?
Lodge. You remember
Lodge School.
Lodge went was handled very quietly. The classes went on back online and stuff, and they had to try to clean the building because it had not been. And even when they brought in people to clean, teachers like chalk. Teachers put some chalk marks
Mm-hmm.
in the area and come back and find them after the industrial cleaning. So it was
Oh
that
my
bad.
lord.
When you get people to do cleaning, especially when they don't know what they're doing, but they got connections, these things happen. So you take your pick. Which school? There was, I think Good Shepherd got people at home today. You know, um, I don't know what that was about, but the St. Ambrose school, they
Right.
tried to hash it down. As a matter of fact, I think one male teacher had it, and some other children, but it's foot and mouth disease. But when you got foot and mouth disease, you shut the place down. You don't try to make it a secret.
Foot and mouth. Which school has this? Which school are they alleging has the foot and mouth disease?
Well, it's not allegation for me because teachers reported to me that it was happening. St.
Okay, which
Ambrose,
school? St.
St.
Ambrose. Oh my
St.
goodness,
Ambrose.
this is a primary school.
Yes, it is.
My gosh, and but that is serial foot and mouth disease. So that is coming from the fact that the place has not been cleaned.
I don't know. I understand it is highly contagious and something like that, but I don't know much about it. I always get my place clean or clean it myself. So the
And
problem here is that our priorities in this country, when I say our, I mean the government's priorities in this country, are all messed up. They, I keep telling them, and I keep insisting, and I think they should read what the duties of a government really are. But the first duty of government is to protect the most vulnerable in society. And then you have foot and mouth disease at the school, and then you keep the school closed, I mean opened, so that more children can get it. That is not protecting the most vulnerable. Look, I am not angry that there was an outbreak of disease anywhere. That can happen. My anger stems from the fact that they try to shut it down and I want the boy to know.
mhm.
That is the problem. Huh? Look, these people in the Ministry of Education need to do their jobs with the best interest and not the best of the children and not the best interest of the minister, because the minister that has so much problems going on around him is certainly not fit for purpose. But we've been saying that for a long time.
Exactly.
She needs to go because she is not fulfilling her role, or she's not fulfilling her role in the job, the job as minister. We could probably find something for her, sanitation or something, but at least not even that, because that's for her health, and she won't handle that either. You want something that she can handle, and I'm trying to spray in my brain, and for some, but I'll go home. The governance of this society is too important to leave it in the hands of perpetual amateurs, because they'll, like after a
Mm-hmm.
while, amateur graduates to be a professional thing. No, these are perpetual amateurs. They do nothing right, and they consistently do nothing right. I don't know what is happening in this country, and well, people are waking up. They're seeing that, but the government is not waking up. You know, and but their stress is to take care of their friends. You remember
Right.
Ralph talk about the contracts for people that look, and I remember hearing David Simmons speak, and he's saying that consultants just come in and get the mayor to make coffee and put the foot behind desk, no got nothing to do. And he I didn't expect that from him, honestly, but he was probably so angry about it, and this is his party. I talking about the former Chief Justice, former Attorney General, former my boss. He
Right.
said that all these consultants come in, get the mayor to make coffee for them, put them up on the desk. They don't got nothing to do. And if he was moved to say that, it must have been on his mind and hurting him for a long time for him to speak up against these things, because he has always been protective of the Barbados Labour Party. But there's a time when you can't take it no more. Lord, I can't take it no more. Well, the people of Barbados can't take
Mm,
this no more, but they are going to bring out the worst in the people of this society if they do not leave office and find jobs that they can handle. Because right now they're not handling the 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 management of this country. First thing they did was to rob poor people of their little nest egg. Remember? Take away,
yes.
and they keep going. They keep going. They keep going. Now they're exposing our children.
Mm,
Trying to find ways and to to fashion this society into the LGBT nonsense, and they're exposing our children to things that little children should not be. Today, I'm hearing that there was some program at the Hilton or someplace like that where they were want to start these student councils, and they were talking to the children about alternate lifestyles and this kind of nonsense. The press were not allowed in, but I was hearing that these are the kind of things that this ministry, the government, they're not trying to teach people skills. They're not trying to teach people um, any knowledge and that they can take forward and make themselves better citizens of this country, or even citizens of the world.
right.
They're more concerned about getting our children into alternate lifestyles. That is not the role of the ministry. That is the role of perverts who would attract little children into do these kind of things. The ministry should not be a pervert. The Ministry of Education should not be a pervert. And right now it is. That is why your group got knocked out of NIFCA, because they don't want to hear the truth. They want to perpetuate this nonsense about alternate lifestyle. There's no alternate lifestyle, because if people go that way, you will not get a couple of generations down your hot body. So it is
Exactly.
not. It
But
is not an
as
alternate lifestyle. It is death.
but Mr. Franklin, I so agree with you, and I'm seeing where St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they were able to push back against this the courts. The courts actually they did not accept. I just want to. There was a ruling that you know how they removed our Buggery law. So there was someone trying to bring a case against Ted Vincent and the Grenadines for their Buggery law to be removed, and you know they were able to fight against it. But what is so interesting, everybody who's listening, is that as Mr. Franklin is saying, we could have our schools that are filled with molds, foot and mouth disease, stench coming out of schools, loaded environmental issues. We're not taking care of that, you know. I'm seeing even there's a school, Mr. Franklin, where the bathrooms, one of the bathroom isn't working, or I think it's the boys' bathroom not working. And the kids, everybody has to use one bathroom. You know, little children are curious, etc. And they have all the children in this one bathroom, right? This is what is happening here in Barbados. However, they, as you're saying, they are, you know, pushing this kind of lifestyle on the children and feeling like this is so progressive. Wouldn't it be progressive for them to clean the school? Isn't that progressive?
No, that is not the most important thing. The most important thing is to develop a cadre of perverts, young boys and girls that they can use as sexual objects and things. So they have to create them because they're not going to be created in the homes. The parents don't want that for their children, so you have to find a way to get sex partners, and that's what it's all about. You know, they want, and the thing is, it is perversion that they are introducing, and everything in this place is going wrong. You see the little boys going to school now, they here in a mess. Well, people said in high styles, I call them a mess because they come with this grooming policy. Why was that? Why was that a priority? Why not toilet papers for some of the schools? You know, why not medications because they keep not, and the drug pharmacy did not, they don't have this, they don't have this. Why stress on things like that rather than more important things? Why not clean the clinics? Why not clean the schools? Why not fix the potholes? It goes on and on and on and on and on, and they are stressing more and more on immoral behavior. I suspect
Yeah.
there's some demonic, and people might laugh at me when they talk about demonic things, but there's some demonic some demonic thing ongoing that we are yet to understand, because this thing cannot come, this type of behavior cannot come from normal, well-adjusted people. There got to be people who are possessed with some demons, and I know I don't want to sound like Freddie preacher, no, but you know it seems to me that that is the case. You know, and don't doubt it. Don't wait till we
Yeah.
all get caught by it, and when it's too late, when we are all hand in hand on the road to hell. No, we gotta stop this behavior. We gotta first of all, government should not be in the business of trying to develop alternate lifestyles. It's not their business. That is, your lifestyle is what your parents teach you, how you grow up, not what government is trying to force down your throat. We have
And
always
that's the
had in
problem right
Barbados,
there.
we have always had people in Barbados who had alternate things. There were few, but they were tolerated in society. Nobody killed them. Nobody made fun. Nobody made fun at. Well, we make fun at them sometimes behind the back. And a lot of them were productive people. I remember when I was growing up, there was a fella. He's long dead now, but when you get him married, you would be happy. You'd be glad if Gray put put the bridal gown. He was good at that. You know, he put up braids. But nobody, and he was respected. But he didn't go out there trying to convert little boys to his way of life. He had big fellas with him, you know, and we know we trying to take the little children and warp their minds when we could wrap their
Yes.
minds around science, you know, robotics, English, math, French, Spanish, geography, industrial arts. What we should be trying to push them along those lines. No, You're not stressing on those things. You have more time for these alternate lifestyles. There's no alternate lifestyle because, and I tell people all the time, I will support this alternate lifestyle thing when two rams get a lamb. And I'm waiting. I'm yet to see it. It does not work. Two men don't get a baby. Two women don't get a baby. Anytime I saw you see two women together and one of them get a baby, one of them sneak up on and found the man. It does not work. It is not a lifestyle. It is a way of death. It's leading to death. And mind you, we have a society that abhorred that type of behavior while tolerating at the same time. But now they want it to be all inclusive. And they set the standard for the courts to rule against it because they changed the Constitution, Section 26 of the Constitution, to say that these laws must be interpreted in a particular way. So when the judge had to rule on this buggery thing, she had no choice but to follow what the amendment to the Constitution said. So and then these dishonest people, and I call them dishonest, let them sue me to, I could get another one in my tail. These dishonest people go before the press and make statements and say, well, it is not the government, it was the courts who made the decision. Yeah, the courts made the decision based on the laws that the government passed. The government changed the law and forced the court's hand. And they are not telling people this. They're just saying, oh, it was the courts. No, the government did it. The government made sure that the courts had no option but to do this. And I cannot trust people who stand up in front of us and lie. I was complaining about it last time we were on when I heard ministers in the House talking about that bill. The one for, I call it the Tony Moore bill, because that's the one to get the union, Barbados Workers Union, going again. It was dishonest, and they pretended that they want to protect workers. They have no interest in protecting workers, because if they want to protect workers, they would have given the workers that they employed in the ASH program and those things, they would have given them the right to get the national insurance pension. They would not go there and deny that they're having, that they're government workers. They're working for government. They're not working for themselves. And they're treating workers like that. So let's say these people continue working for a few years like that. And next thing something happens to them. National insurance, if you have 50 contributions and you get injured and you can't work anymore, you get a pension for life. But if you don't put in the contributions for these people, suppose that young lady that we have adopted here, let's say she was injured to a point where she could no longer do anything, broke her back and she was still alive or something, they would say that they have no responsibility to her. And what they will do is to tell her to go to the welfare department, and the welfare department now has problems because the government ministers call the welfare department and complain for welfare officers when they send their party people to welfare, and welfare determine that these people are working or they have the means. People got apartments renting out, and their politician friends send them to welfare. And when the officer says that they're not entitled to welfare, the officer is in trouble. Politicians here tell people, go into that house and the welfare department will pay for it without any assessment whatsoever. Like they don't care. You know? And that they do this nonsense all the time. They're just out there for themselves. They are destroying everything they put their hands on. I hope that Ralph could be able to topple them in the next couple of months. And I'm talking years because Barbados can't take this type of stress any longer. People
Can't
will
take it.
break.
Easy D is saying, is asking a question here. He says, who is perpetuating the alternative lifestyle?
The Ministry of
Caswell, because this
Education,
government,
the Ministry of Education, they
I
are
agree, and I
pushing
want
the
to
alternate
agree with that.
lifestyle, and they're pushing it among little children as soon as they get into school. They just get
Yes,
the little children
the
up there and teaching them about alternate lifestyles only today. That I hope that answers you easily. Ministry of Education.
yeah, yeah.
And you
And
know,
somebody says
you
here,
know, I read some place that says, "Whereas up the children in the way they shall go, and when they become old, they will not depart from it." That is what they are doing. They are getting the children
yes.
to show them how they should go, that they will not depart from it when they get older. I saw that somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but I read it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, Mr. Franklin, but let me just cut you right there. Important, because I'm glad Lehoy brought this up. He says, "Do we care what happened in two consenting adults' bedroom? I do not. It is not my business." And that's really what Mr. Franklin is saying, Lehoy. But however, the challenge is a lot of these adults don't want to keep it in their bedrooms. This is what's going on, and so they are now putting it into policy for children. They're putting it into syllabus for children. They're putting it in the CXC syllabus, in the social studies syllabus. So what Mr. Franklin is saying, and I'm in total agreement with him, is that listen, you are two consenting adults. Keep your business to yourself, okay? But don't push it on the rest of the society, especially our children. And this started. We saw this when they gave out those questionnaires and those surveys, and we know of one survey, but it wasn't just one. I saw the questions of others that were given at Harrison College, Queens College, Springer Memorial School, that we didn't know about months before that. Okay, so there's a lot of that is happening within the school system, and while all that is happening, keep it to yourself. I think that's what you're saying, right, Mr. Franklin?
that is you put it in a nutshell very well. That's all I'm saying. I don't care what you do home at you. That's your business. But I care what you do when I send my children from home at me, and you decide that you can take them in their classrooms and teach them about things that I don't want my children to know about. Children, let children be children. And when they reach the age and they want to do anything, that's their business. But you should not be leading them down that path. They don't right now they're not stressing religion because they're saying, well, religion is not the church, the school's business, and that kind of thing. But no, so if religion is not the school's business, why is sex and perversion the school's business? Because that is their agenda. You know, my biggest problem though is
Yeah.
that the people of Barbados seem to like them.
You know, I am seeing here where St. Vincent. I want to read a little bit about St. Vincent, because this is the case that you were making reference to, Mr. Franklin, that it was upheld here in Barbados, but the High Court, um, Friday dismissed the case by two gay St. Vincent and the Grenadines nationals living overseas who challenged the island's buggery and gross indecency law. And this is the law that was challenged, and was struck down here in Barbados. But in St. Vincent, only today that happened. And it's so interesting that you're saying that they were doing that today at the Hilton with these are what, six formers? They are, is it were these six formers, Mr. Franklin?
I don't know the age, but they're forming student councils, and I think there
Yes.
might be people throughout the third, fourth, fifth, that kind of people. I don't know exactly who went. I
The
only know what the agenda
senior
was.
school, but you see, they take every opportunity, and that's what we're saying. They take every leave that to the families, leave that to parents, leave that to those who are psychologists and sociologists and who are I leave it to the family and let them sort it out. Don't confuse the children, and then they go home and don't want to listen to the parents and all kinds of things. But they know exactly what they're doing. While the schools are filled with moles and diseases. How do you? I mean, I was just reading up on the foot and mouth disease, and it is so contagious. How are you going to be sending people's children into schools like that? Kay McConney. See, when they pass the cyber bill, if you call her name like this and she's offended, Mr. Franklin, that's $70,000 for us. Or 7 years in jail. But we're saying to Kay McConney, will you clean the schools? Kay McConney, will you clean the schools? I don't understand why. I mean, you have abused our children. Why did I say you abused our children with that test? That's the first thing you did. Very abusive. Put our children to sit down for over what? Was it over 3 hours? To do a survey that you collected their data about them, their personal lives and their families. You abuse the children of Barbados. You abuse them emotionally. Emotional abuse. And you are still sitting there as a minister of education. Why? And look at this situation now. This is not physical. This is physical abuse. The children are sick in the schools. Foot and mouth disease. Moles. These moles can affect kids, people for, sometimes later in life is when they realize that something is wrong. All kinds of environmental issues. And you are allowed to continue to be the Minister of Education. The parents, I hold you accountable. Parents, you are the reason for this.
Marcia, just now you were talking. I just talked about the cybercrime bill. I was laughing because while you were writing, I was writing out a little verse, a couple of verses from the Bible of all places. It's John 8:31 to 32. It says,
Reverend
so
Franklin,
yeah,
let me give you the mic. Give you the mic.
it says, so Jesus said to the Jews who had believed him, if you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's John 8:31 to 32. But in the cybercrime bill, Jesus said the truth will set you free, but in the cybercrime bill, if you tell the truth and somebody is hurt by it, you can go to jail for 7 years and pay $70,000. So in Barbados, the truth will not set you free. The truth will get you jailed.
Well,
Yeah, I was reading that, the other day, and I saw that, and I started to write it down. I actually typed it on my iPad at the same time. I copy it off here, because I don't know why how's government with these things, because I read things, so I happen to be reading that, and I said, yeah, somebody that directed me, some the spirit or something had directed me to go and read this thing, because I didn't even know it was there. And when I got there, it said, and the truth shall set you free. I said, tell this
yes.
to the government, yeah, because they are saying that the truth will get you locked up. Huh? The truth will get you locked up for
Barbados,
7 years. Yeah,
the truth will
to show
get
you that
you
this is
locked
to
up.
show you that this is a heathen government. The truth, Jesus said, the truth will set you free, and these people are saying the truth will get you jailed for 7 years. You know what more do you what more do you want? People say that Barbados is a Christian society, but this government is trying to undo all of that. They want even a Christian society. They're gonna lock you for telling the truth. It is section 19.3 of this cybercrime, but a clause is a bill. So when it's a bill, you call it clause. When it becomes an act, you say section. So clause 19.3, subclause 3, says that if it is whether it is true or not, whether it's true or false. So if you tell the truth on somebody and the body is hurt by it, like for instance, if I said May's an idiot, you know, some people might say that is true. And they might have reasons for saying so. But if she is hurt by me saying that, then I'm facing a magistrate. And a magistrate who in all my years know they only deal with give people 2 years or 3 at most. That's their jurisdiction. And now we're giving them the power to lock up people for 7 years. They will argue, oh, buying a lock up for 7 years, but that's the maximum. No, a magistrate is empowered to give you 7 years. So I am sorry, Oswald. He says, I got bad here. I am sorry. I didn't mean to do that. You know, but it's just what it is. Look at it. See it for yourselves. The normal law of Barbados, if you tell the truth, and even if the truth hurts, I go down the road and I say something about you, and you put me in court for saying it. They said truth is a complete defense. This is what lawyers tell me. I really don't know. This is what lawyers tell me. That truth is a complete
Yes.
defense to defamation. But if you put it on a computer and put it on WhatsApp or put it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, that same truth that you cannot sue me for when I say it down the road in front of 100 people, in front of 1,000 people on the top back of the truck, if I put that on the computer and somebody gets hurt by it, I can go to jail. What utter nonsense. What utter madness. These people thinking? All they are doing is trying to destroy this place and make this place in their own image. That's all they're doing,
Yes.
But that's what happens, when you have you fashion it to the way that you're happy with it, you know. You're not thinking about what is moral because you might not be moral.
Yeah.
You're fashioning it the way you like it to be. But the people of Barbados must say to the government, you might like it so, but we don't. And you're working for us. Don't forget, we get them a job, a contract for 5 years. But we are still their employers.
Yes.
And they must be accountable to us. They cannot come and pass laws and don't tell us. Only today I have a consult. The deputy chief labor officer sent a bill that was going around for the longest time for me to make comments on. But they want to protect Barbados Workers Union anymore. That was only a couple of months ago. I think I sent you the CBC News cast where she was boasting to her people that's what the government going to do. Because that bill is only about protecting the Barbados Workers Union. They are now saying that because the Barbados Workers Union has deceived and betrayed the workers of this country so much that the workers are moving in droves. So in order to protect them, make sure they remain there, the government passing this bill. The labor clauses, concessions, act or bill about
Bill.
this, I don't know if it passed yet. And they are fighting to say to the that you must be governed by the collective agreement that the unions negotiate with the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association. Mind you, the government is now forcing me to be bound by an organization that I don't belong to, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
these hotels are not part of the Hotel and Tourism Association. So if I don't
Mm-hmm.
live up to the collective agreement that the union negotiate with the BHTA, I can lose my concessions. But the collective agreement, they have always taught us, and I don't know much, but they have always taught us that it is binding in honor.
Yeah.
And when you breach, if the employer breach the collective agreement, that's when the employees then strike. It is not something for the unit, for the government to get into. That is an arrangement between government, employer, and employee. Not even employer and employee, but employer and union,
Mm-hmm.
because the job description and the contract is between employer and employee. The collective agreement is a set of rules or agreements that the employer and the union work out for people in their bargaining unit. You cannot, for instance, let's say I had a contract with you, Marcia, your school of dance. I had a
Mm-hmm.
contract with you. You give me a contract, I sign off on it. Now, if you want me to change my contract with you, you have to agree. Not the union gonna agree and change it unless I employ the union and say I want you to negotiate with Marcia Weeks to change my contract. The union has no authority to get in there and change your personal contract, but they're doing it. They go into businesses and go and this and change um people's agreements that I made. I have an agreement with you, and a contract of employment is a contract between two parties, the employer and the employee. The collective agreement is a set of concessions, rules, whatever you want to call them, between the union and the employer. Yes, the workers in the bargaining unit might benefit from those concessions. And when you put them in the collective agreement and you say that these are the collective agreement now becomes part of your contract, you can't
Mm-hmm.
change it for me now, because it's my contract. These are my terms and conditions now. Unions can't change them. But unions go out there and keep a lot of noise, making people believe that they are helping workers, but they're not. And in most cases, they'll go there and sell it to our workers. I see we have an employer in Barbados with over 600 employees. I've heard the union praising them up, saying what a good employer they are. But of those 600 plus employees, only 35 are permanent. All the rest don't get a week on 40 hours. But the Barbados Workers Union still praise them up. Why? Because that employer gives them food when they got conferences. So they don't bite the hand that feed them. That is what I keep telling you all the
Wow.
time. That
Interest.
a union must live on its the contribution of its members. You should not go there begging other people for things, because when you beg people for things, they expect something in return. The government give
Mm-hmm.
them duty-free cars. The employers give them money. And the thing is, if it were things given openly, then you can say, well, oh, it's not normal, no problem, stuff. But these things are done secretively. So they're
Mm-hmm.
done in secret. So when you do things in secret, you do it in the dark, something has to be wrong. Because how many
Yeah.
people in Barbados know that the government has waived the duties on cars for successive general secretaries of NUPW and BWU? And then they don't even go and buy a Toyota and save the money. They go and buy Mercedes Benz and get the duty waive on that. BW got a Mercedes Benz, and UPW got a what do you call it, BMW. They can't afford it. So you should live within your means. I drive a Suzuki.
Correct.
I still get to my meetings. Swift. Mind you, I don't drive it swiftly, of
Mhm.
course, but I get to my meetings. So
Conflicts
what
of
is wrong?
interest,
But that's what we can afford. When I say we mean buy for that because it's not a union's vehicle, and that is what we can afford. So you must live within your means. When you try to live outside of your means, that's why people get locked up. Because why prisons are full of people, because they ain't got to be
Mhm.
with all the spend the kind of money that they want to spend, so they're going to thief it and then get catch. And as you get caught, what happens? You're going to jail. And
Right.
but the thing is, nobody locks up these politicians and these union leaders, and it's about time.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's asking. I think you answered this question before. Hi, Oswald Newton, there in St. John. Oswald is part of the team, Mr. Franklin, that is planning the roadside parliament that's going to be in St. John at the Hard Court there in Gall Hill. So, welcome, Mr. Oswald Newton, and thank you for the work you're doing down there in St. John. And he's asking if we give a 5-year contract. Was a snap election in there? I hate snap election. That's why we're here now. I think you've answered this first part of this question. Well, the question, because it's only one questioner.
But our parliamentary term is 5 years. But as I've said before, the prime minister can dissolve parliament at any time. And like for instance, if this government, this prime minister, called an election 3.5 years into her 5-year term during the middle of a pandemic when there was no need to.
Mhm.
I can understand if the term was running out. 5 years and 3 months was good because you could go beyond for another few months. But you call an election early. You disenfranchised so
Yeah.
many people. So many people were in St. Lucie. So many people were confined home and can't go out, but were not allowed to vote. Made sure they can't vote. And they lock up a lot of DLP people at home so they can't go out and vote. All these things they did. Why? Because their intentions were never um, in the best interest of Barbados. It was, oh, I get an advantage here now because I got a lot of sick people out there and them can't vote against me, but I know my BLP people can come out and vote. And that is what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, people tell me that I was giving them some trouble too, and they wanted me out of the Senate. So all those things get together, and they have another 5 years. But we're going to go down for another at least 4.5 because they're not going to cut up. They're not going to have a snap election before 4.5 years. I tell you why. Simply because they have 3.5 and they need 8 years in order to qualify for the pension. So those people who don't have 8 years yet, who were only elected in 2018, they have to go down for 8 years. So if you cut them off early, they won't get a pension. So when they get 50 at the right old age of 50, they will not get a pension. So they can
Mm-hmm.
go down at least for 4.5 years. 4.5 and 3.5 is 8. And I keep saying on this show, and I keep saying anything, but listen to me. Politicians in my youth were a lot of people
Right.
who did well for themselves and trade and want to give back to society. These people are people who cannot make a living. Most of them who cannot make a living in any profession. And they
Mm-hmm.
want to get into politics so that they can live good and get good pensions. That's what it's all about. So the focus has shifted from people wanting to serve the country for the people who want the country to serve them.
Yeah.
I think it was. Don't ask what my country can do for me. Ask what I can do for my country. Well, they are saying,
Yes.
what the country can do for me. They can give me a pension for life from the time I reach age 50. And that is what it is. What politicians are guided by these days. You know. So I remember you had Errol Barrow. He 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 was a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
and he sacrificed a career at the bar to be
Correct.
prime minister. He didn't die rich. Grantley Adams died leaving a mortgage on Terrell Court. As a matter of fact, one of the jobs that I had, I used to collect the mortgage payments because the public trustee
Mm-hmm.
um would collect the rent, the mortgage payments, and I was the person working at for the clerk for the public trustee at the time. The public trustee is just the solicitor general, who has that as one of their functions, right? And every quarter, the people would come and they would pay the families would come and pay the rent until it was the government acquired it then and make it whatever they make it into no. But Grant Adams died poor, and I don't want politicians to die poor or penniless, but they get away with too much, and
Mm-hmm.
it is about too much about them and not about the people they're elected to serve. You know,
Yeah.
well,
Somebody here is saying there's no spirit of sacrifice and service. Mr. Nigel Newton is saying there's no
well,
spirit
well,
of sacrifice
well,
and service.
that spirit has been put to rest ever since. You know, people don't want to serve now. As a matter of fact, why you think the unions are floundering? When I became a member of the National Public Workers, we used to have meetings on council meetings, going well into the night, past my last bus, because I would catch the bus. Because I was a youngster, I just not to start working because within a month of me joining the union, people were selecting me to be a shop steward. I probably make noise at work one day, and everybody said, "We want him." And I moved from there. The union then sent me for training. They sent me to the George Mini Center for Labor Studies. They sent me to the ILO Training Center in Italy, Turin to be exact. And they sent me even to Barbados Workers Union Labor College to help equip me to do the jobs. But because I was on the council and I showed interest, I was not an employee of the union at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And we had several people like that who were volunteers, who were out there working and worked hard in the unions until as late as midnight. And then people had to come and give me a lift home because my last bus gone, you know. But I ain't left in that meeting
Mm-hmm.
because they might do something that I don't like. So I'm making sure I bend into every light out, you know, and then I can't get home. But then, of course, the same people that you were there trashing and licking up would come and carry home because they were big men. And I remember Horatio Cook,
Yeah.
but he was a really big man too because really big, but he was big in stature and he was big in mind and everything else. I'm at a meeting and I'm licking Horatio, man, cause I fighting with him. Cause I believe in my position and he believe in his. And then put a few blows below the belt too, you know. And at the end of the night, we go downstairs, they go to the bar and they drink some things, and then they said, "Scott, how you getting home?" I said, "Well, I know." He said, "Get in the car." He would drive me to St. Thomas, then turn around and go to St. Philip. From Dalkeith to Hall St. Thomas, and then he lived in St. Philip. But no, if you speak up in this country and you say something about a fella that he don't like, man, that fella hate you.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't any hatred then. People work hard for the
Right.
unions. But you don't have people like that now. Nobody stands up anymore. That is why the council is dominated by a few politicians who are they're serving their party's interests rather than the interests of the workers. We had people like Harcourt Lewis, who, by the way, was the treasurer of the Democrat Labour Party. But he fought against the government. Horatio Cook too. He was the treasurer of the Democrat Labour Party at one stage, but marched ahead of a strike against Barrow. when the time came, because he knew how to separate his roles. So when people say
Correct.
that you can't, union shouldn't be involved in politics. No, if you have integrity, you can be involved in anything. But right now, integrity among these
Mm-hmm.
politicians and trade unionists is as scarce as hen's teeth. And you don't find it. And now a lot of people refuse to get involved in unions for their best interest.
Yeah.
It is in their best interest, but they don't even participate because they don't want to be associated with that type of behavior. But the unions belong to the members. If the members decide I don't want you no more, they get a petition and get rid of you. But they don't even care to do that.
You know,
I have participated in several
Mr.
petitions.
Franklin, I was saying I'm listening to you, and I can see why you were voted. 73% of Barbadians voted for the Unity Union, of which you are the leader, and saying that you are the union that truly represent the workers in Barbados. I will remind the people that you are the union that took on those cases where people were removed from their jobs, or their jobs were taken terminated because they did not take that injection in their arm. And it is you who took that case to court, and encouraged that lady, and spoke up on her behalf, for her to have won that case against Rubis. And because you understand, and I'm saying it, you're not paying me to say it, but anybody can listen to you now and say, man, if they listen to you and say, man, that's the man I want to represent me. And with that, I want to let you finish your thought there, and then we're gonna segue into Ninja Man, because I believe, not because he's a street character, but I want to use the show to advocate that they provide some evidence. But go ahead, Mr. Franklin. If you can remember your thought, I had to put that in.
Yeah, I was trying. I was trying now. Now go on because it will come back to me, and I would think. But right now I am.
Yeah, but I had to put that in because you're not going to say these things, so I have to say it as it relates, because I'm listening and I'm saying, if I I needed somebody, I had any problems at work, the person I'll be calling is Cousin Franklin, because I
No,
know
I'll tell you something
you
though.
can fight tooth and nail.
I'll tell you something though. The piece of legislation that we won that case on was passed by this administration in 2021, and having done so,
Mm.
they then turn around and encourage employers to force their workers at the and the chief labor officer wrote to that particular employer, say you can't do it. But the government was saying, getting employers having meetings with them and telling them to get the workers jobbed up. Having passed that legislation just a few months before, they passed. The same thing is, I could understand if they didn't know the law existed, but they passed it. They were the ones who did it. And having done that, because they were being managed from outside, and what the people from outside were asking was contrary to our law, they ignored their laws that they passed, and went ahead and forced people and got people fired. And the thing is, some people got fired and ticket and went on home. But thankfully, this lady, we stayed the course, and we managed to get a decision now that they can't do it again. Because
And
this
that
decision now
and that
from the
decision
tribunal,
would be for everybody.
yeah,
That
this
would now
decision is
be the
this
decision.
decision now for everybody, so they cannot force you to take a medical test or a medical procedure in order to get a job or to retain a job. But there are some exceptions. If it is part of, like, for instance, if you are handling food, then it is required that you get a medical check to see if you are healthy enough to be dealing with people's food. So your job would require you to have that. But unless it is something like that, they can't ask you to go and get a medical test to determine if you should keep the job or get it. And that case that I did was the first case in Barbados of its kind because the law was new and most people didn't know anything about it. So I am happy that we won that case because now it will. And the thing is, it is only the Employment Rights Tribunal that can enforce that legislation. That's not one you take to court. It goes to the tribunal. Just like the Employment Rights Act go to the tribunal. So a lot of people ask about that. So let me just mention that before we go into the man. If you are unfairly dismissed, and I want to say this to people, if you are unfairly dismissed, meaning that if their employer breached the law while they're dismissing you, you have to report that unfair dismissal to the chief labor officer within 90 days of your dismissal. Now, the other form that we take to court is wrongful dismissal. Wrongful dismissal is not breaching of a statute, it is breaching of your contract. So if you breach the contract, then you can take the employer to court. But so if the employer fired you and he didn't breach the contract, but he disadvantaged you, like for instance, if your contract said before that they can give you 4 weeks notice, and then they give you 4 weeks notice, and after 20, 30 years, they don't gonna give you a cent. But the Employment Rights Act says that if they terminate you, it gotta be for cause. That's not the exact words they use, but that's the interpretation. Section 29(5). And then you have to give them a hearing. And the hearing has to take a particular form. And if you do not do that, you breach their rights. So a dismissal could be unfair, but it won't be wrongful. So the wrongful dismissal is the best avenue for workers. I heard one of the MPs in the House saying, that some hotels give people contracts for 9 months and then break the contract for 6 weeks and start them over fresh so they will not get any rates and stuff. Yes, that is true. And he said the government might have to look at it. No, they might have to look at it. They must do something about it. Because under the old system that we had, in order to get your severance pay, you had to be employed for 2 years. And a lot of employers were hiring people, especially lawyers, and firing them in 23 months. So they could not get severance pay. Now, under the Employment Rights Act, the people are giving you 11 months and then firing you. So because if you are not working for a year, you are not entitled for compensation for unfair dismissal. But you know who's doing it? QEH. A lot of other statutory boards. Because statutory boards are bound by the Employment Rights Act. Not the general service, not the public service proper. But statutory boards are. And statutory boards like the QEH, NCC, and all those other people now are giving people contracts. The same thing those people get up and criticize hotels for doing, they have been doing it first. The hotels are only following what the government has been doing. But they get up in the house and pretend that they are so mightier than thou. But in fact, they are the persons who are doing it. They are breaching people's rights all over the place. And the employers are saying, but the government do it, we can do it too. And that's what the private sector employers have taken the lead from government. That is why the government wouldn't pay national insurance, and then they give you these little contracts. You go to the hospital, and you would see a lot of people are given contracts, and then they send them home. Brah, people they bring temporary people into the bra and give them 6 months and then get rid of them and bring another people to get them another 6 months to collect the government's revenue. And when I was in the public service, it was a rule, not written, but something that was observed, that temporary people do not collect the government money. And you give people 6 months contract to carry. So many people know you're going home soon, they're going to teach some. But because they want to be able to fire people or have control over them, they take people and make them cashiers. This is Brad I'm talking about. And give them
Yeah.
6 months contract. And then they don't even get them up to another three, another four, like how they do with Patrick King and give you 6 months and then give you 5 months and then fire you and get to the cursed people. Well, they're not even doing that. They get the 6 months, gone. And come back on another
Yeah.
six, another group. And those people should not, as has been practiced in the public service from the time I knew the public service. I work at National Insurance as a temporary officer. And there's certain jobs, even though I was qualified and capable of doing, they didn't let me do because it was temporary. When you are permanent in the public service, you know, you have a career and it can lead to a pension when you reach retirement age. When you are temporary and you get 6 months, you get nothing, so fellas getting federally next first. So you cannot put temptation in people's way. And a lot of people have stolen from Bra. They had it up too. Because what has happened to bring the friends and the family friends and things, so they don't want to lock them up in the end. So government has a lot of fixing to do. If they are telling employers that you can't do this, then don't set the example for the employers. But let me get on to Ninja Man and the evidence. I might talk about
Yeah.
government a little back
Yeah.
30 years too
Yeah.
long.
Let me read. I had something here that I want to read because we're getting this. What I'm going to read is from the Nation newspaper. And while I'm looking for the article, let me say that it's about this. I think it occurred in about October thereabouts. And I remember a little 8-year-old girl sent me a message before I came on the show, and she wrote a little message through her mom to me and asked me if I can do a show about Ninja Man. She's 8 years old, and she said, Miss Weeks, if I could do a show about Ninja Man and ask them to free Ninja Man. And I remember coming in here and making a joke about it. But tonight, I'm not joking about this. I was laughing at the time. I'm not joking because I'm very big on justice. And and I believe that because he's a street character, because he can't speak for himself, doesn't mean that we are going to just leave him up and let people, we're going to speak up if we need to speak up. What the Nation News is saying that the street character Anthony Fitzpatrick Ninja Man Lynch, so his real name is Anthony Fitzpatrick Lynch, said he has been told there is no footage of the break-in of the Museum of the Parliament. And so he is, based on that, he is saying that what is the evidence? So this street character is asking the police, did you see me go in there? Why are you saying I did it? Do you have any video footage? What do you have? He's arguing for himself. And I'm saying, I think the average Barbadian is going to ask the question, Mr. Franklin, how, on what basis are they pinning all of this on this man? They're saying, this is what they said that he took, that he stole on October 11th last year, that he stole a briefcase worth $500. Badges worth $13,200. A cutlass valued at $250. A jacket worth $10,000. A cummerbund valued at $6,000. Of course, those belong to, it is Barrow's cummerbund, Barrow's jacket, Barrow's badges, the briefcase, a conch shell valued at $150, a cup worth $4,000, a pipe worth $8,000, a rebate plane worth 200, 300s worth 600, and all full value and an all sorry valued at 200, all belonging to the state. The big question is, all of those things, where would they be, Mr. Franklin? What are your thoughts about this?
I am big on justice. I fight every day for justice, and I don't have any facts. I don't know, and but it seems neither do the police. And it seemed as though that Ninja Man was a convenient person to pin this on. He's a street character, and everybody can feel it to see because he's walking a lot of people, old clothes and stuff, wear dresses or what have you. I know that Parliament should have cameras around the place. I don't know what happened to the cameras, if they turn them off or what. I believe, Caswell Franklin believes, and you got to prove this thing. If Ninja Man took them, he was allowed to take them. And the place was made available for him to take them. And it is all in this nasty behavior because they want to get rid of Barrow from our minds. They want to take, that's what they wanted to call Independence Day, Barbados National Day, and all kind of crap, because they don't want to let people remember our Barrow. So if you walk about to the Parliament Museum and you see our bar clothes and things, my ask about it. So if the men there no more, and these little trinkets, I believe that's if this is not what happened, I don't know. Because look, it's too convenient. And then the man, I have no reason to doubt him when he says that um he don't do that anymore. He stopped taking up things. In one of the newspapers today, I can't remember if it's the Barbados today or the Nation. I think it was the Barbados today, because the Barbados today has a better report on it than the Nation. Mind you,
Then the
I don't usually sell talk about Barbados today, but you have to give Jack his jacket. And their report today was more comprehensive. I'll try to find it here for you, and read something that tells me that what I believe, Ninja Man. I could be wrong. It might very well be wrong. But from what he said, they ain't got no proof. And they tell me, but one, you ain't got no fixed place. You're going to tell me if find Ninja Man there. He don't hide. So he should be in jail because it's a bailable offense. They're going to say he doesn't, and the man said, but he's living in Clyde shelter. You know, he said this, we told him, he said he lives in the Clyde shelter. So they are working too hard to convince us that Ninja Man committed this crime. And Ninja Man don't want to be in there. And he tell the man, said he's mental then, do something. But because he is the kind of fellow who cannot stay confined in any confined space. To put Ninja Man in the jail cell, he can go berserk, you know. And I think that's what they want. When he goes berserk, they can say, oh yes, he gone mad now. So we can have to lock him up for good in the mental or whatever and keep him off the street. But I don't believe that they should be handling him in this way, because if it were anybody else, they would have to produce the evidence. And they did not produce the evidence as far as I'm concerned, because if they had the evidence, they must disclose that evidence to Ninja Man, whether he's a street character or not.
Yeah.
And I don't see why he's in jail under these circumstances, under these conditions, when in fact he's asking the police for the evidence against him. They said they haven't got none. If the police ain't got none, what is he there? Right? Adrian Hines is correct. He said, Ninja Man wears what he has stolen. I don't know. I've not seen him in Barrow's jacket or whatever. I don't know if people saw him. But even if he was in it, how did he get in there? Parliament is one of the most secure places in Barbados. How did he get in there?
Yeah.
and
Somebody
so
has said this particular crime has a level of sophistication beyond Ninja Man. A fall guy was needed. Probably.
I believe that. And until such time as they prove me wrong, I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong. I will come here and if they produce the evidence and apologize. But I am reading this thing to say that Ninja Man was set up. He says, in his defense, the accused man replied, when last you hear me break in any place in town? You you haven't caused you haven't caused I stop all that. He said he don't do that no more. He back in the
Okay, guys, can you hear me? Anybody's hearing me? I'm seeing. Can you hear me? Easy D. Anybody? Okay, I think as well is having some
you
challenges.
hear me, Marcia?
Okay, yeah, we are hearing you now. What you
Oh
got
good.
stuck for a moment there.
Because everything went spinning. I wasn't seeing
Yes.
you or hearing you. Ninja Man, you got to take his word. Unless there's evidence against him, you have to take his word. He said, but I haven't stolen any, I'm breaking the place no more. I don't do that anymore. So, unless the police can produce the tapes or a witness, he must be given the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And that is normal. You just can't block up a fella because you believe it is him. I'm not saying there's no evidence. And I say if there's evidence, I will come here and say, well, look, they produced enough evidence to my satisfaction. I am confident that it was Ninja Man, and I apologize for saying what I said in United Marriage a week, sure. But until such time as I see that, I am not convinced that Ninja Man broke into any place he might have been let in. The doors might have been open
Mm-hmm.
for him to go and take out them things because where you get your keys from? When they went down there to find the doors open, unlocked, not broken in, unlocked. I know they come
Mm-hmm.
up with the actual particular days. They didn't even know because after a while nobody wasn't going down there, and they come up and then they say, "Oh, the place was unlocked." Why would you leave a place like that with such important things in it unlocked? I don't left my door unlocked, and I got no important things in here.
Correct.
When you come here and find, you can find my
But
books,
someone is even saying how would he have transported
all of
those
that
things?
stuff.
I mean, all of that. If you search, he doesn't have any fixed wherever he's staying, because I think he was right there. I can't remember. It was right there at the Treasury Building. But I mean, you would find it among his things. What would he have done with it? Unless somebody, he would have to steal it for somebody. You understand what I'm saying?
If
It
he
doesn't
stole it,
make
he would have.
he would have it be among his things. As you said, we are, all of us, as we say, show us the evidence, or free Ninja Man. He might not have anybody to speak up for him, but as Barbadians, we are calling for justice on Ninja Man. As this little girl, she sent me this message a couple just after it happened. Yeah, yeah. So I think that this is what, and I think that anybody in their right minds, well, you know, most people are believing it sounds strange. The whole thing sounds strange. Where are
According
the
to Emerson,
dates?
Bobby, you would need some sort of a vehicle, a box cart, something. But he can't pan cart something, but he couldn't take out all those things in his hands and walk through the gate with them. And the gate is locked at night. So you have to climb over with him. You
Yeah,
know? So and
I mean,
nobody see the cameras and see him. They got cameras in there. So this is important. You have the lawmakers of this country sitting in a place that any miscreant could have access to. But that don't make no sense. That makes no sense. Some years ago when Thomas was prime minister, a guy went in there and tried to snatch the budget. Can't remember his name now. And security in Parliament tightened up thereafter. It was, I can remember as a little boy going to school, I would leave school early before the bell and head down to Parliament just to hear the debate and to see how Parliament people were performing in Parliament. I got the detention for it because I got caught on TV, but hell, I'm still alive. And they learn from the experience. Learn that I don't want being there. The problem here is you have one of the most secure places where people, lawmakers. So when those lawmakers are in there, can anybody just walk in off the street and do what they want to do? Because you don't have security? Suppose, since they were not monitoring down there, I go in there the night before, I go in there Monday night and sit down and wait till they come to Parliament. Carry my snacks, carry a box of chicken and eat and have my breakfast in there. And when they come in there, I go and beat them up or something. Because you left a space, an unsecured space. I do not believe it. And anybody who expose our honorable ministers to that kind of security, and it is them. And the speaker responsible for Parliament. So he should be gone. Because, when you're responsible for an area and it falls down, only in our system down here, we don't have ministers resigning when things happen. But here, normally the speaker is responsible. So at least the speaker should have attended his resignation because under his watch, these things happen. Under two ministers of education, we had a survey done. People keep remembering K, but one was done before election, and who was in the minister before election. I'm not going to call any names because I don't want another thing on my tail. But you know who that was. So the first survey, when it was done at the Garrison School, was done before election. The only time that it became public knowledge is when they went to the schools with the big up people and they tried to went home and tell the parents. Queen's College, when they tried to do that Queen's College, when they did that Queen's College, that is when everything hit the fan. But it was done at other schools, and one that I know for a fact was Garrison School before, but don't call it Garrison School anymore. I can't remember the name now. But it was done before Kia became minister. So there were at least two ministers. But you know, when people keep saying fire care, they were protecting this $77,500 woman. They were protecting her. They didn't let the boy know that she did there too.
Yeah. But as you were rightly saying, I mean, the speaker should be held into account. I was saying, I mean, because really and truly, if this is allowed to happen, if it is something that happened, it means that they're not safe in there. Anybody, it's like a free for all. People can come and go as they like inside of there. So that there's something that is drastically wrong. I see Kimar is here. Good night, Kimar. How you doing?
Good night, Marcia. Good night to Caswell, and good night to the members.
Good night.
Yes, of the loyal opposition. Very happy to be here on Friday evening. I was enjoying your guys' conversation from afar off. And just wanted to join in here and say
Ben, you said far, he back in Bahamas again tonight.
about here, no, figuratively. But no, you mentioned Bahamas. Our protest made it all across the Bahamas. We were plastered all over the Bahamas. So again, want to say how proud I am for everybody for coming out to the protest. The cybercrime bill is now at Joint Select Committee. It should really be tossed out, but at least it's a small victory. So you would take that, and I would say let's continue to plow in. And come Sunday, we'll be in St. John, Gaw Hill, Hard Court for Roadside Parliament, and Motorcade leaving our stomping ground at WESTBURN Plaza. So we look forward to seeing you all on the motorcade. Who can make the motorcade? Ensure you arrive at Gaw Hill, St. John, this Sunday for 5 p.m. I look forward to seeing you all.
Yeah. Yeah, this Sunday is going to be we're going to continue the protest. Somebody's saying that my signal is coming through very choppy. Don Reed, thank you for letting me know that. There's not much I can do about it at this time. I'm very sorry about that. But it's going to be, we're going to continue speaking about this cyber crime bill, and we're going to do it as the motorcade is going. You know, we do things differently. We're going to be educating people about the bill as we drive through the different communities, right? And once we get to St. John, we then you know, we have a full program lined up for you. Entertainment is going to happen there, Mr. Franklin. You know, we have Dynamo. I think you remember Dynamo, the MC. You remember the MC, Mr. Franklin? Yeah, yes. Dynamo is going to be there. He's going to be the MC for the evening, and we feature a lot of young people in this presentation that we do. You know, it's all about the next generation. This is the one here. His name is this is a little Calypsonian here, you know. And he's going to be singing as well. They're so cute in the glasses. He's a Calypsonian, believe it or not. And I'm here I'm looking for his name. They sent me his name this evening, and I'm looking to find his name to tell you. So he's gonna be down there. Potent. His stage name is Potent. You see how little he is, but he's potent. And he's gonna be singing a very interesting song that he did for Junior Monarch. All right. He's going to be there. And we have just a wonderful event. When you get to St. John, it's going to be a wonderful event lined up for you. Lyrical is going to be there. We even have a dancer, Jay. He is one of those dancers, you know, those street dancers. Will be there as well, and so it's going to be quite exciting there in St. John. Listen. We have lighting, Mr. Franklin. We got our movie. I mean, by the time we get to St. John, I mean, we're taking this thing notches up. You have to come up, the children are up there, tent and everything. Go ahead, Kimar.
Marcia, I must say to you that in between sleep and awake, my phone just happened to stumble upon YouTube, and ironically it took me right onto the Parliament page, and it just cut in plain. I was listening to the debate, and I heard Dwight Sunderland speaking, and he sought to give a response about the issue that we raised happening at poll, and he said that the member of Parliament for St. John was going to respond to somebody who was in his constituency seeking to criticize the government's housing policy, and that they will deal with that on Sunday, because I'm hearing that the Barbados Labour Party now has a meeting in St. John on Sunday as well.
Wow. Well, you know, this is why we have to come out. We have to come out because, you know, we've got to educate the people. When they have their meetings, Kimar, as you know, Mr. Franklin always says it, they put people there to ask questions, and everything is rehearsed and planned and staged. At our roadside parliament, we're just ourselves. And I really do hope that we could get there early enough that we can do a tour of pool. We could do a tour of those houses there, Himar. Right? We drive around in there and drive out. Right? I wish we are able to do that when we are passing through. Right?
Well, I,
So
I don't think
It's,
you'll be able to get to the bush.
you can't. That's what's going on. Say, okay, man, you know, and you better drive through. You got what roads? What roads? Then
Yeah, ain't no road. Ain't nothing. You gotta be walking through the bush like Tarzan, maybe. Mhm. So
yeah,
that is,
yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. So yeah, okay. Well, guys, I mean, we the next thing that we want to discuss. I don't know if people can still hear me well. Are you guys hearing me well? They said I was coming through pretty choppy.
I'm here. I'm here. You
Um,
good? You were up and down a little while ago, but now you're clear.
no, I'm clearer. Okay, thank you. Um, yeah, I we want to talk about Mr. Thorne. Mr. Thorne being a thorn in their tails, as they were using the term tail. But um, Mr. Thorne, Mr. Thorne, today it's 1 week since we heard that he was leaving, because we were on the show last Friday when we heard that he was crossing the floor. And today, Mr. Thorne walked up to the DLP and publicly, as he said, he's not there to play games. He believes he wants to, what he wants to do, he wants to do it within a party. And so he decides that he is going to join the DLP. Now, what happened was that there were people there to greet him. He's always having people to greet him. I wonder if the PM is the government is seeing that. The BLP seeing that everywhere this man goes, he has people to meet him.
You see, the thing with that, Marcia, is that Thorne did not arrange for anybody to come and meet him. But when you see them coming out there to meet people in the Barbados Labour Party, it is a program thing. It's somebody arranged. Let me confess. It's a confession is good for the soul. So I am going to get some medicine for my soul now. I used to be the body arranging them at times. You know, I would arrange to get somebody come down there and do these things. So I know how it is done. I used to do it. It is not a spontaneous thing. It's not people saying that we going go down there and support these people. But the people who come out there are people who wanted to come out there and support Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne had no input into the people going there. As a matter of fact, I had more input into people going out there than Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne didn't know. I think he might have been genuinely surprised by the numbers and that were there, because as far as I know, he didn't arrange this, because he couldn't arrange it, because he's now in the Barbados Labour Party. He was in a constituency, and then a lot of them people did vex and things, so they can go down there. But the people who went to see Ralph Thorne genuinely went down there to support him and let him know. And one of the reasons why I was involved is that I didn't want him to go in there alone. I wanted him to see that he has support out there. Everything that he does, I will not support. But when he does something that I like, and I love this one, I was there. I was happy to be associated with the people out there who, but and I think it was a genuine feeling. And the thing is, it was not only genuine feeling of Ralph Thorne, but frustration from what this government had been putting the people through since they got in 2018. So then when you see Ralph had won in the morning, so they had to do something in the afternoon. So the scramble of a few people called them and tell them to come out there and pray Tony more. It was so mock. It was as genuine as any $3 bill you would find in your purse, Marcia. And but I can tell you that came from our hearts. That support that Ralph had nothing to do with it. He didn't stage it. It ain't like the things that they do when they tell people what question you can ask, or worse yet, put people in the crowd like Alfie Wiggins to say nice things about the Prime Minister. That didn't happen with Ralph. Ralph had
No. But
people
as you said,
have
everybody
genuine
came
respect for
down.
him.
Yeah, and they came down to support him. And so that happened at the parliament, right? And then today, people were had even like a marching band thing I saw there. I only saw it in the evening. People were, really, really happy. The DL people from the DLP, members of the DLP, were down there. I was on the road today getting all the documents for the motorcade. I didn't even know it was happening. It's someone who called me and said, "Did you hear on the radio that Ralph Thorne is going to be handing in his application to the DLP?" Now the thing is, so I mean, people are all quite divided about this. There are some people who said, "I thought he would have gone independent." Some people are happy that he joined the DLP. Of course, the people in the BLP are upset that he left the BLP. Poor Ralph. Poor Mr. Thorne. Everybody wants him to do their thing. And so we want to discuss it tonight. Plus, we don't know, will the DLP even accept his application? I don't know if is it automatic that he is now a member of the DLP. What let me hear from Kimar before Caswell, because since Kimar just came on. Kimar, what are your thoughts about that? Can you answer any of those questions? Is he automatically a member of the DLP?
Unfortunately, not. His membership has to be taken to executive. As it states, the current president and the general secretary has they control at least 6 votes apiece. Based on the structure, along with others who have been elected by the general membership of the party, who vote for executive council members, and they have to decide if they're going to accept the application or not. So there has to be an executive meeting at the party, and then deliberations can happen on if they say yes or no. So it's still not final or automatic.
Well, in political parties, when you were a member of another political party, you have to get permission. Like, for instance, if you, Marcia, have not been a member of the political, it might not necessarily be automatic for you, but it's an easier process because they don't have to forgive you your trespasses and thing. But Torno, because he was a member of another party that opposed the Democratic Liberal Party, his matter has to go to the executive. But
not totally. All members have to go to the executive for vote. There's no one has automatic.
No, but you don't get the kind of rigors for people who were not in opposition to the Democratic Liberal Party. You also just left school and come up there. It goes in the executive just sign off.
That's not true. The current president had a smooth sailing in when he joined from the Barbados Liberal Party.
No, but he got signed sailing because he was a plant. Anyhow, go on.
Yeah.
They trick the Dems into taking him. Here we tell you. I am convinced of that.
So you're saying that the process is not as Kimar is saying that there's a process that he has to go through, or is it no? Mr. Franklin saying there's a process that he has to go through, and there's a voting. So can you imagine if they did not, they might not want him there. They might say, well, we don't want him in the party. What happens then?
Somebody's. Go ahead, Kimar. You go first.
I would say that it would not be a wise idea to reject the application, but I guess the powers that be would have to know what are their intentions of rejecting it. If they do reject it, they refuse a seat in Parliament. And I remember being a situation where the Prime Minister offered to sit. Not that she had them to offer per se, but there was a perceived bungling at that opportunity I know they're coming to do it again as it relates to the public relation aspect. That would not go well for the party and the public. Um, Opportunities like this don't come so often, and where I listened to Mr. Thorne today saying that he didn't come to lead, he came to help. And if people are constantly reaching out to help, and it's being perceived that the powers that be are refusing that help, then when it comes to being an elected, the party being elected to parliament is going to be really difficult. So I want to perceive that as wise, but I guess the members will have confidence in elected officials to make the right decisions, and if they make the whatever decision they make, I hope it is in alignment with the people, because if it is not in alignment with what the people want, the party will suffer the repercussions of that decision.
The problem
Yeah.
here is that we might have some people in the party who don't understand politics. A political party exists to get government, to become the government of Barbados. It exists to to represent people in parliament. If you are not in parliament, you are nowhere. It don't make no sense. So Ralph Thorne gives them the opportunity now to be in parliament, right? And being in parliament means that the state will provide them with money to help fix the headquarters and stuff, because right now the place running down because they don't have the money. Political parties finance their operations from the contributions of MPs. So each MP pays about 5% or so of his salary into the party's coffers. So when you, for instance, right, you got 30 seats now, all 30 will pay 5% into the Barbados Labour Party, and each senator, even though he only gets about $1,500, he pays his 5% too. When you're in opposition and you are not in parliament, those 5% you don't get. You just get zero of those 5%. So at least going into parliament, they can get 5% of Ralph's salary, and the stipends paid to the people in the Senate. Right? If those people join, well, Walters is already a member. I don't know if Tricia is a member, or she's just somebody that Ralph had the utmost confidence in, because I have the utmost confidence in her. I don't know if she's a member.
She's a member as far as I know.
But I don't know. But I just said, but I would have picked she, and if I had to pick somebody, if he said it, I would have gone for her first, because she's an excellent choice. So what happens here now? Because Ralph is in the house, that $150,000 will now go to the Democratic Labour Party, because the way these people interpret it, that it's that if the party runs an election and you get some, you get a seat in parliament, then you get the $150,000. Well, the party run the election and they got a seat in parliament, so they're gonna give the LP that $150,000. So right away, Ralph is bringing $150,000 a year into the Democratic Labour Party. He has then put two other people of the Democratic Labour Party into the Senate. And that is what they established for, to get in parliament. So why would you not accept something like this, especially when a person who has just burnt his bridges in the Barbados Labour Party? But I don't think he had any bridges there, because they were actually trying to blow up the bridge with on it, and campaign against him in his own constituency while he was a sitting member. And having not indicated to the party, no, I'm not running again, so let somebody come out here like Eddie Hinkson has done. He said he ain't running again, right? So there are people down there trying to see if they can get the nomination. So I don't understand what they're doing, because Ralph is an asset, and he's a bigger asset, a political asset, than any other member of the executive of the of the Democratic Labour Party because he has good capital. He has something that each party needs, a seat in the House. So they need Ralph more than Ralph needs them. So I don't understand why there should be a problem. They should be out there so with doors wide open, arms wide open, and happy to have Ralph and thanking him for coming and that kind of thing. The problem with Ralph and them is that the Democratic Labour Party and the Barbados Labour Party, they have a particular structure which has a, like for instance, the Barbados Party has a chairman, which and the Dems call this the president. The chairman chairs meetings of the council and does what they call housekeeping stuff. It is administrative work. It is not political leadership. The political leadership of the parties always fall to an MP, a member, not only a member of the House of Assembly. So automatically, being the only member of the House of Assembly in the Democratic Labour Party, if they accept him, Ralph will become the political leader and basically the spokesman for the party. That is not Ralph's doing. That's the Constitution. And some people might have that because there was a vacancy for a political leader. And the role of political leader got devolved onto the president because he was there making political leader speeches. But there was a vacancy, and nature abhors a vacuum. So he filled the spot. But the spot is not going to be filled by Ralph. So I don't know if some people are saying, well, he can't come in and come to the top. But there's no law against it. If you look at, I think it was St. Vincent, some years back, Mitchell, he got a seat in the Grenadines, and the Parliament was split evenly, and he had one seat. And he approached the governing people and said, well, look, if you make me prime minister, I would side with you. And they said, no. She went the opposition. He became prime minister then because then they had one more seat than the last government. So it is the fellow with the seat that got the power. These people here ain't got no power. They just talk now. Ralph has provided them with a golden opportunity that they cannot refuse. If they refuse, they are actually that will be another nail in the coffin. All you got to do now is to get the little device that you put the coffin on and let it down. They need Ralph.
Kimar, thanks, Mr. Franklin. Kimar, someone is saying here, Mr. Hines is saying that he has a seat for the next 2.5 years, yes, max, if the Prime Minister allows it, and saying it's not a good move then for the DLP. Do you agree with Adrian Hines that it's not a good move for the DLP, saying if the DLP decides to accept it, it would not be a good move for the DLP? Do you agree?
Right now we want momentum and resonance, and Ralph offers that as opposed to what is the current offering. No, I'm not here to criticize the current offering. However, I'm here to suggest that Ralph gives a higher probability of resonance with the public as we speak. 2.5 years is at least $300,000, and some to rally you for the next year and to prepare for election. So if the current offering can produce $300,000 right now to help a party that is struggling financially, well, go ahead. So you have to weigh the probabilities, the possibilities. Nobody in the DLP has a seat right now. And here is somebody with the seat who can give you an opportunity to run and win some seats. And then somebody else, because there is a possibility that Ralph could or could not be successful at the polls, in Christchurch. And who's to say that somebody else got to emerge when they win the seat next election? Right? But what I'm saying right now is that political parties are supposed to take the lead from the public. And that is why scientific information, like doing polls and doing analysis, real-time analysis is important, because you can see exactly what the people want. From my estimation, and just speculating and speaking broadly, majority of the people say that they want Ralph Thorne to join the Democratic Labour Party. Right?
Right.
And if, as a political organization, and you continuously make decisions that go against the will of the people, then you'll be punished at the polls. So we need to start looking internally and start having such pride, because we need Barbados Labour Party or we need Democratic Labour Party, the great, that the people have to accept what you're spewing out. They don't have to. Right? And it is time that political parties do what the people want and not what they want. Right?
Yeah.
This is the first step to showing the public that we are in agreement, that the DLP is in agreement with the public, in lockstep with the public, and we would actually do what the public wants. Because they say, I don't want to come across as a criticizing, but we've had times where the public was looking on to the DLP and decisions were made that were adverse to what the people wanted. And the parties paid for it. And one example of that could be when the name was changed on the Barrow Auditorium. That didn't go on well with the public. Right? So you don't want that type of public backyard going on. What you want is unity. What you want is a coming together of the voices in the party. And what you want is to create the notion that the DLP is coming together as a strong institution to help govern the affairs of the people in the near future. Right? So you don't want the public going on thinking that the party is tone deaf to what is supposed to be done, because when you get in power now, that tone deafness becomes worse.
Worse, yeah. But Kimar, can I say that the last time I heard Dr. Ronnie Yearwood say anything publicly about Mr. Thorne, he was welcoming Mr. Thorne to the Democratic Labour Party. In fact, he was calling him. That was last week, Sunday, after the crossing of the floor occurred. So, I mean, to date, everything publicly that hearing it from him out of his mouth. And so, like Calvin, I am saying, why are we assuming or thinking that they might not accept him? What is it that makes us think that he might not? I know I asked the question because people are asking, but if we look at it for what it is, publicly, Dr. Yearwood has said, "Welcome to the DLP." Why are we thinking that he might not accept him? Not him, but the executive might not, you know?
Well, to answer Adrian's question, he asked if the members shall not have a say. I agree that the members shall have a say. And the members have been having a say publicly as to what they think should happen. Not everybody has to agree with the position. Again, this is the public position now taken by the General Secretary of the party, that Mr. Thorne does not speak for the DLP, neither the two senators, although there are two DLP members. Again, some persons criticized it and saying that they could have left it out. They could have not said anything. Some persons said, well, very few persons I saw say, well, they needed to say something. So when the application form goes into the where it has gone into the party, whenever the executive meets, the executive will vote according to their conscience, because nobody's supposed to corral anybody as to how they should or should not vote. But my support is for Mr. Thorne. My vote, if I had a vote, because I'm not an executive, would be to accept Mr. Thorne. Right? So yes, Adrian, the members should have a say, and they have been saying openly that we should accept Mr. Thorne as a member of the party.
Yeah, yeah.
Marcia,
I'm seeing this. Yes.
I have found over the years in opposition, the Democratic Labour Party has been a very fractious organization. They are always there fighting amongst themselves. And when Arthur made here out of those types of relationships, because he allowed and encouraged the bad behaving Democratic Labour Party, and that made them unelectable, and he got 3 consecutive terms. It is only after David Thompson was able to rally the troops, and by that time most of the malcontents had left and joined the Barbados Labour Party, and they are controlled out there. They can't go out there and make a noise, But in the Democratic Labour Party, they keep a noise and not realizing that they're making themselves unelectable. And Oinafa loved it because they were fighting amongst themselves, and the country could see that if they can't run the party, how they can run the government. So they have to stop this nonsense and make themselves electable. Or not, we will have a nightmare of this government returning to office. And that is the last thing right-thinking people in Barbados should want. They have shown from the very first week in office that they had no interest in the masses of the Barbadians. They had interest in white oaks. They had interest in carrying people government paper. They had interest in carrying the national insurance money, writing off people, their friends and family who did not pay taxes between 1968 and 2000, and they went to Parliament and wrote off them, and then, and those were billions of dollars, and then raise the contributions for poor people to pay. So these people are not acting, and if you continue, every time they take action, it never had anything, even though they tried to clothe it in sheep's clothing. It was always a wolf. It was always a wolf. But now they don't even pretend to be sheep now anymore. They are just wolves in wolf's clothing. And the Democratic Labour Party better get its act together so that they can rescue Barbados from this government, So we don't need the fighting in the Democratic Labour Party right now. And let me just say this for you, because people might think that I joined the Dems too. I have never joined the Dems. I've never had any intention of joining the Dems. I am only calling it like I see it. I was a member of the Barbados Labour Party, and then I helped form the People's Party for the Democracy, the PDP, under when he formed the opposition. So I didn't join that party. I helped form it, and so I became a member because we were the original members. But the only party I ever joined was the Barbados Labour Party. I've never joined the Dems. I've never even, and mind you, David Thompson and I were friends from school days. And I remember one day I said, "But David, tell me something. How come you never asked me to join the Dems? Because you tell me I got respect for you. You aren't like Kerry Simmons, that kind of fellas who ain't got no ground in anything. I know if they come to you with that, you will catch me, and we laugh it off, and that was it. And we remain friends to the day he died. So it isn't a question of me want to join the Dems, because I could have joined the Dems long. Because when I was at school, most of the fellas in my age group were Democrat Labour Party people, and some of them ended up being MPs and senators in the Democrat Labour Party. But I had never been, and so I'm not looking to become a BLP member. All I'm saying to you is that the BLP better get its act together for the sake of this country.
Yeah.
And if they do foolishness, we get rid of them again.
Yeah. Well, as Esther Blue is saying that she's hoping the DLP is listening to this show. But let me just say here that my friend, what's his name again? I can't. Well, you want to give me Adrian? I forget. Adrian Hines saying, "Why don't I address the comment that was made to me at the Parliament building by Ainsley Ben?" Yes, Mr. Ben made a comment. To be honest with you, Adrian, I know that it was not a positive comment. I remember that it was not positive. I can't remember word for word what he said. I wasn't expecting that at all. I was just asking people why are you here? People are here waiting on Mr. Thorne, and I was just going around with my phone and asking questions. And he, I think I know it wasn't something. What he said was that the essence of what he said. The essence of what he said is that the DLP needs Mr. Thorne, and Mr. Thorne will become the political leader of the party. If I remember well, I can't remember all that he said. I remember that I was shocked about what he said. I was like, oh, okay, that kind of thing. And I moved on, and we, interviewed other people, etc. So Mr. Ben is not somebody that I talked to regular. I hadn't seen him in years. The last time I saw Mr. Ben, if I remember, was in Canada when he was in foreign service there. I can't remember what role he played, but that's the
Ben,
last time I
the
saw him.
he was the High Commissioner. Ben was High Commissioner to Canada.
The High Commissioner, yes. When I was traveling with the films, I met Mr. Ben in thing. So I actually I don't get into that kind of squabble and so on inside the DLP. I really don't. I really am I'm supporting the concept of an opposition. You all know that that's what I'm about. I don't care, people say, well, should this one be the center, whatever. The point is that we have two opposition senators. We have them, and we have a leader of the opposition, that we are going to support once, as long as he has the concerns of the people at heart. Then I'm going to support Mr. Thorne 110%. I'm telling you, and those two senators, as long as there are true opposition in this country, they will have my support. They could I don't business what the name of the party is, to be honest with you. I don't business. I just want to make sure that in Barbados, we have a strong opposition, which is what we need at this moment. Okay, I see Miss McLean is in the green room. I want to know if she's ready. She's ready. She can put a thumb up and let me know she's ready. It doesn't. Okay, she is ready. Miss McLean, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yes, good to see you. There have been people here saying, "Where's Miss McLean? Where's Miss McLean?" I tell you, you have a whole fan club out there. You're here. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I've been listening. I was cooking. Yes. I have to eat. So I did.
Were you down at the headquarters this morning?
No, ma'am. I wasn't there. I am a background person, as you know. I function in the background, but Marcia, I listened to the conversations. My phone, in fact, my landline, my phones refuse to charge. They've been going. So I have an excuse now not to answer my landline, because the phones are not charging. They're just probably rebelling. But as I indicated when I last spoke, I've had several people call. But there's something, and I'm here charging my cell phone now so I can read it. But in all of this, I saw a comment and I shared it with you. You probably would have seen it. Yes. The others would have seen it. Let me read the comment, because I thought it very interesting and appropriate. And this is somebody commenting. Sorry that I turned aside because I have my cell phone plugged in. It says, "It is really sad when all I hear on the news concerning Ralph Thorne is that joining the DLP would profit the DLP. What about the people? Now, what I propose to do, Marcy, is to share my thoughts on how the people will benefit, and I would say, and how the DLP would benefit because the people are benefiting. You see, because I hear about resources. Now, I personally would have offered a suggestion to my party on how it can raise funds from the people and, members and so on, because as you know, my mantra is power in pooling, but that's not my focus right now. When I reflected on that this morning, because I saw that message, I was still in bed when I was checking my notes, my messages and so on, and I saw that, and I said, the individual is spot on, and I'll tell you why. We know all that transpired over the last 2 elections, and as a consequence of that, the business of Parliament has been the weaker and the worse for it. There are a number of critical functions outside of the debate and so on. There are issues relating to the management and the monitoring of what happens in the public service that did not get, well, for the time that Reverend Atherley was leader of the opposition, we did have the Public Accounts Committee meeting. So I want to identify at least 3 things that will, as a consequence of Mr. Thorne becoming leader of the opposition, that can happen, that will allow the public to answer some of the, at least get answers, or at least see aired some of the concerns that we continue to raise, the issues that the Democratic Labour Party, through its spokespersons, and now labeled shadow cabinet. And I am not into semantics and nomenclature. I think the important thing is a voice. We need to hear a voice speaking on an ongoing and in-depth basis on the issues that face this country, particularly all that we have heard. Now, the Auditor General is required, and I'm looking at because you're talking about the Public Accounts Committee, and you're talking about the role of the Auditor General there. I'm going to read first from the original the Constitution that was in place when the Mayor Motley administration came into office. And at Section 113 is one of the last, is one of the last provisions of this. After that is Chapter 10, which speaks to miscellaneous and interpretation. But according to this, Section 113 says, there shall be an Auditor General whose office shall be a public office. The accounts of the Supreme Court, the Senate, the House of Assembly, and all departments and offices of the government, including the offices of Cabinet, the Privy Council, the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, the Public Service Commission, and the Police Service Commission, but excluding the Department of the Auditor General, shall at least once in every year be audited and reported on by the Auditor General, who, with his subordinate staff, shall at all times be entitled to have access to all books, records, returns, and reports to such accounts. The Auditor General shall submit his reports made under subsection 2 to the Speaker, or if the office of Speaker is vacant, or the Speaker is for any reason unable to perform the functions of his office, to the Deputy Speaker, who shall cause them to be laid before the House of Assembly. In the exercise of his functions under the provisions of subsections 2 and 3, the Auditor General shall not be subject to the direction or control of any other person or authority. The accounts of the Department of the Auditor General shall be audited and reported on by the Minister responsible for Finance, and the provisions of subsection 2 and 3 shall apply in relation to the exercise by that minister of those functions, as they apply in relation to audits and reports made by the Auditor General. Nothing in this section shall prevent the performance by the Auditor General of such other functions in relation to the accounts of government and the accounts of other public authorities and other bodies administering public functions in Barbados as may be prescribed by or under any law for the time being enforced in Barbados. Such function, other functions in relation to the supervision and control of expenditure from public funds in Barbados as may be prescribed. Now, I think there's a change. Since the government changed, there were some amendments to the Constitution. And what you find in this Constitution is with the amendment, before you get to a 102, there's the appointment, etc., of the Auditor General. And it makes reference to how the Auditor General is appointed by the President, by instrument on the public seal, acting on the recommendation of the Administrative General and Professional Service Commission, made after commission has consulted with the Prime Minister. And it goes on to talk about when, and then it goes back to these functions. Now, the important thing is, one, the Auditor General has the authority to audit all financial matters, all books of all government agencies, commissions, and so on. The second thing is that in order to do an assessment of this, and Caswell, you can probably help me remember where the Public Accounts Committee gets its authority. The Public Accounts Committee is set up as a committee of Parliament chaired by the Leader of the Opposition to examine and involve the Auditor General in helping them to look at issues that they consider important. Let me put it another way. The Public Accounts Committee, under the chairmanship of the Leader of the Opposition, sets the work program for the Auditor General in relation to what they want to examine. And that is important. Right now, in the absence of an audit, a Public Accounts Committee, save for if we didn't have what happened transpired, this administration would continue what would normally have been a 10-year period. As Caswell said, at most it would be 8.5 years, because the first 5-year term was shortened by 1.5 years. So if you went to the maximum, you would have had 8.5 years. Subtract from that 8.5 years the time that he would have served how long? For about 3 years. So in essence, in the absence, let's say that during the first term of this administration, you had the Leader of the Opposition in the form of Bishop Atherley chairing that committee. Interestingly enough, my recollection of the work of that committee did not focus on what transpired during this administration's 3.5 years. I remember they were looking at things relating to housing and so on. That is subject to correction, but I will go back.
No, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct.
Thank you very much. So
nothing. And Transport Board.
Okay, precise. And those related to prior to 2018, Mayor Motley assuming office as Prime Minister. So basically, up to now, we have not had the Auditor General work with a Public Accounts Committee to examine anything under this administration. Now, you would know that the Auditor General he prepares an Auditor General's report. And in that report, you will see areas that he would flag, areas of concern that he chooses to flag. You would also see perhaps reports of special audits. Now, those special audits would have been commissioned by the Public Accounts Committee, for example. So what do we have here? We have a situation where right now, the Democratic Labour Party can sit on the outside, pick up the Auditor General's report, read it, flag all kinds of issues, or hear rumors of problems in the ministry, but it has no access to information in a way that it can do any serious investigation, and as would be found in the work of the Public Accounts Committee. So the first thing that I see, and remember that Mr. Thorne flagged the issue of the Public Accounts Committee as being a priority for him. So if we want to talk about what is benefiting, I hear about $150,000 and all that is fine. The Democratic Labour Party has survived from 2018 to now. And it has survived. I'm not saying it doesn't need the money, but it cannot be the priority. And I want to say that, because you see, if we get lost in that, the government would like us to be getting down at that level and arguing. That is a given, but that is not. And I go back to the question that was posed in the chat that I referred to, what is in it for the people? So the first thing is that the people and the Democratic Labour Party will benefit from the presence of the public of the leader of the opposition and the Public Accounts Committee being able then to be, called and work done. So that's the first thing. So I believe that for us, I mean, for example, and I am going to use something that Mr. Thorne referred to, and we hear all the time. Caswell was talking about consultants. Was it somebody make tea for them? I wasn't sure.
There was someone said that there's coming to the office to get the maid to make tea,
Take a cup of tea and sit
and
down.
put them foot by the desk.
Now, the question that we would like to, I certainly would want to see, because I remember a song and dance was made by the Prime Minister in opposition about consultants and so on. I can go and find a list of the people who were consultants under the previous administration. I'm a record keeper and a note taker. I would love, for example, for the Auditor General to be requested, or the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee to request a list of all consultants currently retained by this administration, where they are, what they're supposed to be doing, what they're being paid. And then you look at the agencies and what they were supposed to do, and you can do an evaluation. So that's one thing, because I am mindful of the time. The second thing, Marcia, and Caswell and Kimar and listeners, is the issue that is very imminent. That is the issue of the estimates and a budget, if there's one, coming from that. Because at the end of the day, the government is going to present its plans for expenditures in the estimates. They will say, well, and monies to be received and so on. They're going to present that and say, well, this is the kind of money we have to spend. This is the kind of revenue that we are going to be receiving. And then the budget, in the traditional sense, however it's configured. And I know that I've heard different prime ministers talk about different approaches. But at the end of the day, it's an exercise or two exercises which basically say to the public, this is the kind of expenditures, these are the kind of revenues, these are the shortfalls. Because in my life, I haven't generally seen governments having surpluses in terms of revenues over expenditures. And then it will tell you how they propose to raise the funds to cover those. We have, for example, what I consider a pending or an imminent debt crisis, because we know that the Prime Minister has been borrowing and so on. Now, when it comes to the estimates and the budget, that exercise that has to take place before the end of March, because the government's financial year comes to an end on March 31st. And if it doesn't have those estimates approved and so on in Parliament, they can't spend a cent, right? And so that is important. An interesting development, which can be taken advantage of now, was when this administration came into office. They introduced a practice of bringing public officers into the well of Parliament. There are a lot of arguments against that, but as I say to people, and I would say this to my colleagues in the Democratic Party, including the ladies ladies who curse me because of what I said on the last time on this show, but Maxine McLean is a woman, I will say this, guided by, and I segue, but I'll come back, guided by the words of my late brother Wendell McLean, who I followed in the Senate. And it was interesting. I will have to ask his wife again. The day that I went into the Senate first time, there was some connection with my brother, and she called me and told me about it. And my brother said on his dying bed to his daughters, he had 4 of them, when they think of your father, there's a man dying, they will think of a man of integrity. My brother left that for me. All right? That is my inheritance from Alfred Wendell Audley McLean. He had my father's first name, Alfred, and then he was Audley Wendell Audley, AWA. That's what one of the people want to know. That's what it was. So that is the credo by which I live. And he got that from my parents. He was the second. I was the 9th of 11 children. But anyhow, so that, for those who want to cuss me, I don't mind, because I feel that I have to speak and say what is important, because individuals, and this is why I've chosen, Marcia, to go this direction and not to speak about those, because at the end of the day, who is president of the DLP or the chairman of the Barbados Party or whatever, if you look on the other side of the fence, who is political leader, all of those things exist because in the case of the political party that I belong to, like Caswell, I wasn't going to go anywhere else. He'd say he's staying over there, I stay over here, and we have been friends for 40 years. Back to what I'm saying, at the end of the day, whoever or wherever you serve, the focus must be, should be, ought to be, and in my case will always be on the interests of the people of this country. So at the heart of what we are seeing, and I can see coming from this recent development in Parliament with the crossing of the floor and Mr. Thorne becoming leader of the opposition, he now has a chance to go into Parliament. And when you have those officers, instead of just sitting down and hearing Minister of Tourism ask the Minister of Transport some little airy-fairy thing because they're talking to one another about decisions that they took collectively as a cabinet, you now have an opposition leader who can drill down. And I ask Marcia and all the listeners, and I say to my party, instead of playing monkey games, sit down and come up with a list of issues that you want the leader of opposition to raise. The estimates are addressed in the Senate, and there's a way in which, and I certainly will offer my assistance. As I said, this is about the fourth time I've said it publicly to all of them. Because I sat as
wow.
leader.
I love that, Miss McLean. I love that. I'm sorry because of there's a break there. I didn't realize you were speaking, but I love what you just said there, Mr. Franklin. I love that. To all of us on, it's about 1,142 of us on. Did you all hear what Miss McLean said? If you didn't hear anything for the whole show, hear what Miss McLean said. Come up with a list of issues that we would like the opposition, the leader of opposition, because he's there. He said out of his mouth he's not there to represent any party. I remember him saying that it is to represent the people. And so we should come up with the issues. That's more where I am at, to be honest with you. Because he's going to make up his mind, Mr. Franklin and Kimar, where he wants to, he might have looked at Mr. Reverend Atherley and realized, you know what? Nobody supported him, not even the church. He was a reverend and not even the church supported him. The church went and voted BLP anyway. So he probably figured, if I'm really going to help Barbados, I have to be part of a party. And he made a decision. That's his decision. The point, though, is that he's a leader of the opposition, and he should be representing all of us. And so come up with a list of issues. Did you hear that? I love these kind of things. So I'm going to put a list together. But I cut you off there, Miss McLean, and then let's jump into Kimar or Mr. Franklin to give some comments. But finish what you were saying, if you can remember.
Yeah, and that's the point I was making, because at the end of the day, he will have to sit down. We have seen, for example, all kinds of reports. We've had issues in education. We've had issues in housing. We continue to have issues in health, and we can go through the whole list. In agriculture, there's some developments that I plan to tackle at some point in time. But I'm saying, basically, look and see what are the things that have been concerning us, whether it's, and the performance and so on, and do that. And the last point I want to make, because I said there were three things, was the whole question of the scrutinizing of the government's legislative agenda to come. Because at the end of the day, he will go into Parliament week after week, once House is meeting and his colleagues once the Senate is meeting, to speak to legislation. Now, traditionally, government has, but for most of the legislation, you have some kind of notice. We have seen, of course, and particularly, and this may be particularly important given what I'm going to say about what we've been seeing in recent times, that legislation comes in literally overnight or sometimes the same day, as Caswell could attest to when he was in the Senate. You sometimes are seeing it for the first time. As I said before, because I am a retiree and I am flexible, there are a lot of things I do, but I can tell you that on any given day or at the beginning of a week, I will sit down and I will recommend this. We now have in the Democratic Labour Party a shadow cabinet. I trust that they will do what is required. and if they if they understand the recommendations that I'm just making, and the connection between the benefits that we know, I'm speaking as a member of the Democratic Labour Party, we can benefit from the relationship and the return of Mr. Thorne, that we can make sure that the issues that are burning that we talk about, we can now assist him in putting some laser-like attention to them in the House of Assembly and in the Senate. So for me, those are the things, those are the benefits that I see. All the other things are what I would call, I don't want to say pedestrian, but those are things that whether they happen or not, the party will function, because the money will enhance what is happening now. But I believe in self-help. But my position is that we, as a people, and the party to which I belong, maybe Marcy is a male thing, I don't know, because we don't have testosterone in like the fellas do. So, but the men seem to have.
We
Some
should.
of them ain't
We
got it. Some of
shouldn't.
them ain't got it neither.
So I just think that there's a way of behaving. I always, and I'll say this, I think women bring, and management is my thing. So I look at theories and practices of management, and people have studied how women as a group generally bring to their professional and work situation some of the characteristics that they and the things that they do at the domestic level, and so I think that women tend to be more accommodating. When it is I was gonna make a comment here, but I don't know if it would be appropriate for the thing. I was gonna say, men always get into these same competitions, I'm sorry, but apologies to anybody who had a problem with that. But I am old enough to say a lot of things that are not necessarily politically correct. But in all seriousness, set aside your personal agendas. In fact, and I would end with this, and this is my word, because they cuss me, so they can cuss me some more. This is my word to Dr. Ronnie Yearwood as president of the DLP. You came into a party of which you were not a part at the top. You were received, and you should understand what it is to start at the top in a place that is unknown to you. So far, whatever you've accomplished, you didn't do it by yourself, even if I would hate to think that you would have thought so. You cannot continue to grow. Oh, now you're talking part now, politically, ignoring advice, criticism. Some of it may be brutally hard and whatever, but as somebody who's been on this air for nearly 68 years old, for years, I can tell you I have faced criticism. I took it in my stride. I take it in my stride, but I accept it in good faith. What I just outlined as benefits to the people of Barbados should be benefits to all of us. Stick a pen. Take a moment to reflect on what is your purpose in politics. And this is to all of them, and Mr. Thorne too. What is your purpose? What are you intending to do? What do you want to achieve? And I trust that the answer about that, anything to do with your personal accomplishments, should be at the bottom of the list. We're talking about Barbados here. This country is on the brink. We have heard all kinds of things. We are on the brink. We have been seeing money spent, wasted. We've gone through all kinds of things here, whether it's in the hotel sector, whether it's in housing. We are hearing some proposals for education which do not sit well in terms of the potential for failure and all kinds of things. Let us focus on Barbados. And for me, and the last thing I would say, I am one of a 4-generation family. So when I talk, I going so as I am near the departure gate yet, I trust, but that is the Lord's decision, not mine. And whenever it comes, it's not too early. That is when it is. But at the end of the day, let us think about the future of the children born and yet to be born in this country. And so whoever wants to cuss when you share your thinking because you care, let them do that. All I say to people, just do not get involved in wickedness and so on, attacking people. Share your criticism, share your thoughts. And the people who You see, when people keep, and this is the problem with politics, when people keep saying yes, 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 all hell breaks loose and everything goes wrong. Marcia, I hope, Kimar as well, I hope that what I've said and to the person who shared that comment, I don't know if he or she is different, I can't remember if it's male or female. I hope that that helps you to understand that there is a significant role for the leader opposition to play and a number of benefits that can be realized.
Maxine,
Yeah. Miss
you know
McPhee,
me well enough
thank
to
you
know
so
that
much.
if I disagree with you, I would tell you. You know, but this presentation tonight was flawless and educational and thought provoking, and I agreed with everything you said. Not almost everything that you said, everything that you said.
You will give me an A, because the time I used to be a hard marker. So what will
A
you get?
plus, A plus. You know, and I would have known when you were talking. I said we were talking about people who start at the top. I said, well, diggers start at the top, but somebody always has to pull them up when they get to the bottom. That said, I move on from there. You also talk about women. The women in our society have been the leaders throughout all generations. The women in Barbados raise the men who come and run this country. The women are the people who guide us. The women are the people who shape us. I don't know because I have 8 sisters and I had a lot of women um,
You had a lot of
influencing
women?
me. A lot
Oh,
of
okay.
women
Oh,
influencing
oh,
me.
you didn't say okay. There was a pause. Sorry.
You know, I might have a bias. So let me explain my bias to you. But I have always seen women to be leaders, and the point with the testosterone, you know, men, yeah, men too macho, and our problem is that we have a macho woman in leadership. I don't know if they're mimicking it or stuff, or they have some disposition that cause them that way, but they always want to be bullies or something. So women have not been bullies, and they have run this. But let me do something. You see, my mother, who was a laborer on a plantation, she guided her children. None of us ended up in jail um, or any deviant in society. And this is a woman who, my first paycheck was more money than she ever made in any paycheck that she ever had when I first got my salary. But she raised all of us, you know, with along with my father. My father was the quiet, silent type. My mother was the one who administered justice. And my dad used to call it injustice because she used to beat me bad, you know. You know, so I think. Anyhow, the next thing I want to talk about, you ask about it, and I can tell you. The Public Accounts Committee was always a committee from in the standing orders of Parliament. However, because it was always intended, and the leader of opposition was always be the chairman, in 2003, when David Thompson was leader of the opposition and Kelvin was the, I don't want to call what he was. This is a nice show. He did not cooperate with Thompson, and Thompson was trying to get a meeting of the Public Accounts Committee forever. But every time he called one, he had to depend on the government for a quorum. The government, or not the government, the people would not turn up. Because remember, there were only 2 opposition people, and 2 did not form a quorum. So Thompson went to Parliament one day and proposed a resolution that the Public Accounts Committee, quorum of the Public Accounts Committee, can be 2. I was present that day, and the speaker said, "Do I have a seconder?" And Kelvin turned his side and looked upstairs. He would not second Thompson's resolution. Mayor got up and seconded it, and then seconded it with an amendment and destroyed the Public Accounts Committee. And then made a mockery of it. And then they came up with the Public Accounts Committee Act. It was never governed by an act of parliament before 2003. And I can send you a copy if you want, Maxine.
Please
I have
do.
a copy of the Public Accounts Committee Act.
Wow, that's interesting. Very interesting.
But Mayor got up and seconded and then came up with some amendments and also then proposed this legislation. And so Thompson really then couldn't really function because the government had him hamstrung, and the Public Accounts Committee they never wanted oversight. Just like this government here don't want any oversight. They do what they like, and they don't, even when the Auditor General makes recommendations or criticisms of stuff, and he's not always right and he's not always perfect. But rather than implement the decisions or the recommendations, they ignore them and move on and do the same thing next year. So the Auditor General had become like a toothless tiger. He talk big and hard, but nothing happens as a result. Even though, because his matters could be referred to the police. But no, what has happened? The Prime Minister made sure her man is Commissioner of Police. So if you report and the Commissioner of Police don't act in accordance with the rules, but because he got the backing of the Prime Minister, no minister ain't getting locked up, nobody ain't getting dealt with. So this government thrives on not having any accountability. Because if they were accountable for anything, a lot of them would not be in there now. As a matter of fact, a lot of them would be sending things up my tail. Mind you, I ain't get the first one yet. And I am waiting with bated breath to get my thing, because I unless other people get that one and the postman can't find me. But
you have a mailbox?
I got a mailbox. I got a mailbox.
But you should like get thrown through the window.
To the window. It's 9:57. I know we're gonna go a little bit over, but I want to get to thanks for that piece of information, Mr. Franklin. I would love us to break that down some more. You said it quickly. We don't have the time tonight, but I think that is kind of something we can start the program on and to just like break it down next time that we're on. But Kimar, I know you are a solutions person, and I loved what Miss McLean said about us making a list. And I can see people on here. I think it was Hurricane Writer and somebody else started making their list already. And I want to say to people that if you have a list, if you want, you can send us a list and I will pass them on. I don't know if we can pass them on to Miss McLean, if she would let us do that. Pass them on to Miss McLean so that she can compile the list that's coming from the people, not from any party, but from the people of Barbados. So Kimar, what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that is something that would be worthwhile? Do you think Mr. Thorne would be open to that? What could be the benefits of something like that? Kimar.
Well, as far as I measure, Mr. Thorne is about the affairs of the people. He openly recognized the work that we've been doing on the shore to help the community and to help the people of Barbados to open their eyes to the discrepancies and the breaking of the laws happening around them. And I could say firmly that I suspect he's a person that will be seeking audience with us, seeking audience with the private sector as well, seeking audience with Unity Workers Union, seeking audience with the people in the communities, the people in Christchurch, South, St. Lucie, St. Philip. He has to go around the island to get Barbadians to understand what will be his vision and what programs he'll be rolling out to help save the people of Barbados from the crash that they're caught up in right now. And he will definitely need support and help. Right?
Yeah.
he's one person and he has two senators, and then there's all of us. So if
Correct.
maybe a few persons may not want to assist, that's fine. We have the majority who will be interested in lending support to him. So I guess in as time goes on and he gets more comfortable in his role, he will possibly start reaching out to, persons. But I guess in the meantime, we could start to organize ourselves in terms of getting the information over to Miss McLean, and we start to compile that. By the time he, uh, gets more comfortable, um, as I say, he's joined the party, or he's seeking to join the party officially. So I guess we have to engage him at that level. If he is successful in the application, and just lend the assistance. Um, we may have various things going on in our lives, like uh, we may be part of other organizations, other clubs that might be interested in meeting with him. So we could start to organize and helping to mobilize people that we could help him to come up with a plan to help us, right? So that would just be my 2 cents.
Yes, and actually, Vihoy was, as you were speaking, she was saying that we need to request, Mr. Franklin request a meeting with Mr. Thorne, as citizens, request a meeting with him, not as a party. Of course, each of us would represent different parties, and because we are non-partisan, and I think it is crucial that we remain that way. We will have our own persuasions, but that we put the interests of Barbados, as Ms. McLean is saying, above party, above our own personal ambitions, and to really look at Barbados. I think that's the only way that we are be successful as a country. And greater, what it goes again, and greater shall our nation grow in strength and unity. That's the only way. That's the only way. When we must reach a stage where we are not looking at colors. Yes, everybody, I'm sure it's going to be some party that will be elected, but that's not our focus. The focus is our country. And anything like that, I will jump in 100%. I cannot jump in supporting and out there promoting no party. I want to promote Barbados. That is what I I don't know, I get off talking about that, but I get passionate about that. So I love what you're saying, Kimar, and I want to help. I want to help Mr. Thorne if he is about that. That is what I'm about, right? I was waiting on Mrs. Corbin was going to come in to rubber rouse us up for the um oh, okay, all right. She said, okay, she was going to come on. Sorry, guys, Mrs. Corbin, with her pot cover and spoon to get us all riled up for Sunday. But she said it's going on. The conversation is going so well, so she will she will let it go. But let me just ask Rollinston Broom. So we're seeing red, Marcia. You see red? Okay, Rollinston. Oh boy! Let me tell you, we have all. That's what I say. All kinds of people watch this. You have the politicians watch it, the media people watch it, the DLP watch it, the BLP. Like I know the DLP watch it because they curse me afterwards. They watch it and then tell me off, right? Everybody watch it. Everybody watch it. Those who want to sue us watch it. Everybody watch it. So
What's
we
in your
know, we
tail?
know. So Adrian Shelton, who says he sees is the Rolling Stone Broom. You say you see red. We welcome you too. We welcome you too. We welcome everybody here. Everybody got a home here. But Sunday is a big day, Mr. Franklin. Sunday is a big day. And how important do you think it is for people to come out and to keep speaking about this bill? You're muted, Mr. Franklin.
Before I get there, I will say to this that Ralph has the support of right thinking Barbadians. But if he only had Maxine, he will got more talent than exists on the government benches right now. And I ain't saying that because Maxine is here. I saying that because I know Maxine. And I'm saying that because I know what the government has on their benches. So he ain't got nothing to fear. I tell you, he ain't got only Maxine. He got me here too with a little bit I know. I can try it in as well. You
Little
know,
bit
he got
what? Little
Kimar.
bit what?
You know,
Listen.
and
You all getting
you
me
know,
excited. Can you all imagine? Listen. You imagine Mr. Franklin helping Mr. Thorne, Miss Maxine McLean helping Mr. Thorne. You have Kimar helping Mr. Let me tell you, man. Let me tell you, you get me excited now. Anyway, continue.
you know, I'll tell you something. But when we finish streaming, I will give you some information. But I have to be stopped streaming. You know,
Yes.
this motorcade that we're having on Sunday, is going to be a turning point in this country. I would suggest to you that if you are not there, you will not go down in history, because this is going to be a history making occasion. Come out and be seen, be able to tell your grandchildren, I was there on that motorcade. You know, because we are not making sport. We can't take this nonsense that these people call governance anymore, because it's not governance. It is fed with the nest of their friends and family and the poor people suffering. When you have a situation where you cut welfare for the lowest of the low, and then you're going to give people contracts to do work that the government information service it was established to do. You get all these communication specialists and all kind of nonsense, and give them contracts to do work that already has a person to do it. And mind you, professionals, people who are trained, not necessarily people who just talk pretty. I am saying to the people, come out and speak up. Let speak by your presence. Let the people in government see that you mean business. If you don't come out and say and stand up for yourselves, what do you expect? The government will say, well, look, you know something? Man, the people support us and they want us to continue robbing them and treating them like idiots. So you have to come out and support yourselves. This is self-help. Nothing short of self-help. I'm thankful that Ralph Thorne made the move that will strengthen the people's arm. Because right now they make fun in Parliament of everybody else. Go in there and they say things that, like the last debate they had that I listened to. I don't listen to many of them because it's heart wrenching. Listen to people talk nonsense. I can't do it. But I had an interest in what was going on with this Tony Moore bill. I call it the Tony Moore bill. And I heard them saying things that at best could be quarter truth. Not half. And I know them to be misleading the public. And thankfully Ralph was there to school them, because he was not just a parliamentarian and Tuesday, you know, he was a lecturer. And he even attributed to the speaker great political, great legal knowledge and stuff. And I was saying, oh my Lord, Ralph is too generous now, you know, and you know, but and that's he's even a gentleman. He you know, he was very nice, but he was telling, he taught them law. And I think the Attorney General should have been there like you, Marcy, with his book, writing down notes, because inevitably he came out talking nonsense. You know, it is heart wrenching. So we are grateful for Ralph. We thank God that he actually made this decision now rather than later, or that he made a decision at all, because this country needed an official opposition. The people of Barbados support him. I certainly support him. I might not support everything that he does. And when he does something I don't like, I can tell you. You know, I will not tell everybody first. I'll tell him first. But I will say to him, Ralph, I think it went wrong here, and I think he would appreciate that. But if you do not come out, I don't think we will fail because you don't come, because other people will come. But then you're going to be saying, I should have been there. Had I known always comes too late. So don't
Yeah.
forget, if you don't have transportation, come down there, you can get a lift. But come.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. And
country needs
guess
you,
what?
and you need you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. And listen, it seemed like Miss Corbin is in. Miss Corbin, can you good night? Can you whip us up in 2 minutes? In 2 minutes, can you whip us up in 2 minutes and get us down there? Good night, Miss Corbin. I know she remember the night she came on. She said she was in her 90. Good night.
I'm getting some. Hello. Good night. I'm getting some.
Good night.
Yes,
I
there
will
you
get
are.
some awful feedback. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes, you're clear. Yes, you're
Yes.
clear. You
Good night,
got 2 minutes.
everybody.
Good night.
Hi.
Hi. Where's the spoon?
I
Where's the
just
spoon
want
and the
to.
pot cover?
I'm getting some feedback. I don't know from where. Are you getting feedback from my end?
No, we're not. We can hear you perfectly, Rose. The only feedback is you getting it. We're not getting it.
I did my cell phone. Yes, please.
We are hearing you loud and clear.
It's better now.
It was always been good. We are hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, I was getting awful feedback my end. Good night, everybody, to the viewers. And this is
Yes.
going to be quick. Um, I would encourage everybody to try our best to be out on Sunday, whether we can do so from the starting point and be in the motorcade or find out from you where we can connect. But certainly let's have a grand rally in St. John. And Marcia and all the others, my penchant for the English language. And I'm coming in on some notes that I made very briefly. And this has to do with that debate as well on the bill, the concession bill, presented by the MP for St. Peter in his capacity as the Minister of Labour. And he said something that I played over and over. And in presenting the paper, he talked about misfits. He said he has no time of the day for misfits. And he called the misfits as persons who are out there making noise in public space. And he said there are two categories of persons: a small group of persons who are seeking political relevance, who are seeking to distort the narrative. And he called those persons misfits, ones who are interested in their ego and seeking political relevance. And I found that very insulting to the Barbadian public. We're not misfits. And I did my research, and the Cambridge Dictionary said a misfit is someone who's not accepted socially by other people because his or her behavior is unusual. A person who is not accepted by a particular group of people, especially by because their ideas or behaviors are very different. Hence, the term which is used in a derogatory, negative way, misfit. He is saying this. He said that the people of St. Peter did not send him into the house of assembly to be distracted by misfits. And therefore, he is seeking to speak to the bigger group who are victims of misinformation. I'm glad he admitted that, because any misinformation is not coming from this group of misfits over here. That is why you have to go out and represent yourself. Thank you, Maxine, for that very passionate, instructive message you have sent out there. That's how we're being seen, as misfits. They continue to call us by these derogatory terms. Just because we choose to speak out, just because we choose to educate, just because we come on this channel and we seek to present information, research information. He, in the privilege of the House, in presenting a bill that Ralph THORNE, MP Ralph THORNE, who is now the leader of opposition, got up and tore to pieces so eloquently and so sought to inform us as well as inform them. His rebuttal in presenting that bill was to talk, and he didn't make an aside. And I said, shame on you, not only as MP representing certainly some misfits in St. Peter, because some misfits did not vote for you. So I assume that those who did not vote for him are misfits also. And that the people of St. Peter did not send him there to deal with these misfits. And this, I'm going to say it again. I made my note. He talked about those who make noise in public space. We don't have the privilege of the House until now. MP Ralph is there. But we did not have that privilege in the House of Assembly to make noise. They make more noise than us in the House, presenting misinformation. But because we have gone to that point, where on Saturday, because remember, his delivery came after our march on Saturday. And therefore, in the privilege of the House, he has chosen to describe this category of persons as misfits, and assuming and seeing directly that this group is seeking political relevance. That's insulting. They are seeking political relevance, and sometimes they're not very relevant at all. And that we are seeking those category of persons, we're distorting narrative, and we're interested in our own political future. My political future, if there's any, like you, Maxine, and as well, and all the others, is to make sure that the present now enables a future. Not my political relevance, not my political future, but the future for generations to come. And we are being called misfits, ghetto people, and march. And you know what I said? There goes the elder of a church, so condescending and calling the citizens of Barbados who do not agree with them, who do not want any wishy-washy bill to be passed. We are labeled as misfits. But I'm encouraging yourself and myself that the Urban Dictionary says that misfits always stand out. A misfit has unique set of skills. A misfit is usually very straightforward, and a misfit does not have a lot of best friends. Within this group of misfit here, I am glad to be associated with you. Those of you who I can see here right now, Maxine, Caswell, Marcia, Kimar, I am glad to be associated with you, misfits, because we are going to continue to bring relevance to a situation in Barbados that has become irrelevant and out of touch. So people get out there and rally and be an irritant. The names are piling up. We are treasonous. We keep a lot of noise. Then the MP, when she was presenting the cyber crime bill, called us irritants. You know who was an irritant? I researched it. An irritant is a substance that causes inflammation or other discomfort to the body. It is a thing that is continually annoying or distracting, and used figuratively. An irritant is someone or something that bugs you, causes irritation and annoyance. So when we speak out, we are causing irritation, we bugging them, and we're annoying. You know that if a fly is on you, that's an irritant. So we're like flies on them, and they're insulting us. Didn't the leader talk about easy come, easy go? That's how they see us.
Yeah.
Easy come, easy go. They feel that we are probably, and we will be described if we just back off and are erased from the face of this landscape in Barbados. At this time, if we back off now, they will say, see them easy come, easy go. But as the sounds, I ain't going nowhere. I'm here to stay. So people out there who are
I
listening,
ain't going nowhere.
let the misfits come out on Sunday and be irritants. And I almost choose what the person was saying. You know, last line where they say, where the guy signed the lawsuit, be irritants in their ward.
Tail.
I ain't saying it.
Tail.
I ain't saying it. But
Tail.
to know that they cannot do a debate or a discussion without insulting the people of Barbados. This is no longer a political platform in some community where you want the crowd to laugh and cackle. This is a serious, the House of Assembly, the lower house and the Senate, and Maxine would know, and Caswell would know. These are important institutions that should set the tone for good governance and good representation and
Good behavior.
and this gentleman,
yes.
I really had respect for the Minister of Labor, but to be called a misfit, I am a misfit. That is insulting. That is derogatory. And
Well, guess what, Rose? Guess what, Rose? If we had the cybercrime bill, you know, someone like him, it would not apply to him because he has parliamentary privilege. So he would have said that in Parliament, and you would have been offended by that. So this is something that we will continue to talk when you get the microphone on that truck passing through the communities, and let the people know that he could offend us and we would have no recourse because he would have said it in Parliament.
Parliament.
And this is what is so wrong with this whole bill. And that is why we're coming out again on Sunday. Don't get tired. Don't get weary in well doing. As the good book says, do not get tired. We are going to be out there. Everybody come. We're starting right there at WESTBURN Mall at the corner of Westbury Road and Baxter's Road. Everybody come out, come out, come out. On the screen here, we have the route. This is the route that has been sanctioned by the police. You know, we didn't want to put it out there until we get the go ahead. But this is the route, and I'm going to put it on my Facebook. If you see it, just share it. If everybody share it, all 1,000 out of you, share it. Everybody will get the route and join in. Join in. Let us be peaceful, and let us, you know, we're going to make sure we abide by the law, and we're going to have a great time of education. You know, it's always great when we come together, so we're not going to miss it. Okay, everybody. And Miss McLean, I'm going to give Kimar the final word tonight. Miss McLean, one last thing, and then Kimar, and then we're done. We're over time now.
Well, I want to thank Rose basically, because when she made reference to the Minister of Labor's comments, my only comment is I define misfit as square pegs and round holes. And
All right.
you know, that's it. So I say to him, make sure that you're not a misfit. I thank the people who take the time to watch this show, and for you who take time to share what you share, because everywhere I go, supermarket, church, wherever, you hear the same thing. You know, this
Yes.
is educational, and people just don't miss the show.
Yes. Thank you, Miss McLean. Kimar, the man that St. John, the people, I go down to St. John and everybody talking to me about Kimar. Somebody from the UK called me today. Listen, I want Kimar when he go to St. John to do this and that. I want him in St. John. I don't have anything to do with that. So Kimar, can you talk to the people? Give us the final word.
Yes, well, um, thanks to everyone for tuning on to the show this evening. It was very good, for sure. We always enjoy. Um, Sunday, we'll be at Gull Hill in St. John. We'll be leaving our old stomping ground at Westbury Road, the city, and heading up to St. John on our motorcade, passing through the communities. Residents will come out and hear us on the truck, and we'll be having a family evening at Gull Hill Pasture. I will definitely be raising some issues affecting the people in St. John. We've been there, Marcia, you know, we went to the couple of locations around the communities, and we got direct information about some of the issues impacting the people in St. John, some very serious issues. And as was said today in Parliament, the MP for St. John said he's coming to deal with people who had things to say about him, about a pool project. So St. John promises to be a hive of activity this weekend. But I always said I had something to reveal on the show. So if you come to St. John, y'all will hear exactly what we had to share that we didn't get to share earlier in the week about these houses.
Yeah, so more about those hope houses right there, and Pool St. John and the misfits. Where the misfit? Well, let me tell you, they're gonna see. I'm sure they're gonna hear on Sunday. They're probably there watching as well. I know the BLP has a meeting as well in St. John. You know, we're misfit, but they're following us. The BLP has a meeting in St. John that was sent to me this morning. So here we go. But you know, we keep focusing on the country. God bless you all, and we see you on Sunday. You all have a great weekend. God bless you. See you on Sunday. Bye bye, everybody. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
as soon as you cut the